Chapter 1401. An Ordinary Person's Daily Life, 7 of 8. After seeing the lady disappear for a few seconds, Pacheco turned his head and said to Barton, "Let's go back to the foundation." "Aren't we going to the suburbs?" Barton asked subconsciously. Pacheco said with a smile, "Didn't you already give the bottle away? We no longer have a reason to go to the suburbs." Perhaps his true aim was for us to hand the bottle to the lady of the Tamara family. What he said before were all lies. Of course, this has nothing to do with us. Next, there is no innocent party among them, so it doesn't matter who dies. All we need to do is perform a certain amount of surveillance to prevent their battle from affecting ordinary people. This will be handled by the police, not by the Foundation or the Compliance Department. Vernal doesn't look like he's capable of this kind of devious plot. Barton mumbled. He didn't ask further and turned to walk out the door. Frankly speaking, returning to the Foundation was the answer he wanted to hear the most. It was just a spur of the moment when he asked if they were heading to the suburbs. It was an old habit he hadn't overcome for many years. After returning to the Foundation, Barton spent the rest of the day feeling rather uneasy. He went through the menial, repetitive routine until evening came. "I originally felt that life was too boring, but I now realize that a monotonous life is so precious." Sigh. "I only hope that nothing unexpected happens like in the afternoon. May the Lord bless me." Barton stopped at his doorstep, stretched out his right hand, clenched his fist, and gently struck his left chest. After finishing his prayer, he opened the door and entered. He took off his hat, coat, and handed them over to his wife who had come forward. "What happened to Vernal?" his wife asked carefully. Barton replied calmly in both tone and expression. "He offended some people and was being followed. The police have taken over this matter. In the future, if Vernal visits again, don't let him in. Remember to send someone to inform the police." Barton's wife heaved a sigh of relief when she heard that the police had intervened. All right. After dinner, Barton played with his children for a while before finding an excuse to go to his study and sit near the window. He needed a private space to completely calm his emotions and walk out of the panic brought about by the incident with Vernal. As such, Barton took out a cigarette from his drawer and put it to his mouth. He wasn't addicted to smoking, but he had to socialize sometimes, so he prepared a pack of cigarettes at home and on his body. He lit the matchstick, lit the cigarette, and took a deep suck. He then leaned back in his chair and watched the smoke coming out from his mouth and nose. The white gas quickly spread out in all directions, making Barton suddenly think of the fog coming out of Vernal's mouth and nose. He vaguely smelled the faint scent of blood. To Barton, this wasn't a very strange discovery. After all, Vernal had stayed in his study before, so he definitely left some traces behind. Ordinary people wouldn't be able to detect him. Barton didn't smell it before, but because he was too nervous and flustered, his attention had been focused on the whereabouts of Vernal and the words he had left behind. Of course, the smell of blood in the study room was very faint. It was also one of the reasons why it couldn't compare with the hotel room and the burnt ruins at all. As the smoke from the cigarette spread, Barton suddenly narrowed his eyes. He had an ominous feeling. In an instant, the pale white gas shrank in a certain direction with the smell of blood, forming a figure. The figure's upper body was normal, with an iconic red nose. It was none other than the archaeologist, Vernal. The lower half of his body was completely shrouded in air, like a monster drawn out by smoke. "V. Vernal," Barton shouted, almost suffocating. His voice reverberated in the study, unable to penetrate the wall. "Haha, I've already acquired an immortal body. As long as there's still some fog left, I'll be able to come back to life." Vernal burst into laughter. Compared to before, his expression became more and more crazed, and his eyes seemed to be slightly palish white. He was already dead just now. This thought subconsciously flashed across Barton's mind. Then, he forced himself to remain calm and said, "What's the matter?" As he spoke, Barton wanted to stand up on impulse, but sadly he discovered that his body was covered by a cold and thin fog, and he had lost most of his senses. Vernal stopped laughing and looked into Barton's eyes. He said word by word, "You didn't bring that bottle to the suburbs." Although Barton had a rash personality, he knew that he couldn't answer this question directly. He quickly thought of a solution. A few seconds later, he changed the topic before he spoke again. "Why did you convert to believing in that entity? Aren't you a loyal believer of the Lord?" Vernal fell silent for a moment before his expression gradually became fervent. "I've seen an even larger world, a much more vast world. Compared to that, the planet we are currently living on is like a grain of sand in the desert. There are innumerable civilizations, ancient ruins left behind from hundreds of thousands of years, millions of years, or even tens of millions of years ago. This is what the universe looks like." Seeing that his question only made things worse, Barton fell silent. He thought about whether there were any non-sensitive topics that would garner Vernal's interest. He slowly took a deep breath and said, "Other than the altar, what else did you discover at the fourth epic ruin? How much do you know of the Tamara family?" Vernal's eyes lit up. The Tamara family had its coat of arms replaced once. This means that they had encountered something rather major. As he spoke, the archaeologist, who was just an upper half of a body, had extended his right hand. Using the smoke, he drew out two symbols in midair. The first symbol was formed from a layer of brambles, a shield wall, and a long sword that was vertically inserted into them from above. The main part of the second symbol was a pair of double doors that swung open, and the gap in the middle was taken up by the vertical longsword. As a barely famous historian, Barton immediately thought of the words of the Tamara family member. They are them. We are us. Did the Tamara family fracture? Barton blurted out. I thought so, said Vernal, smiling with gratification. Then he leaned close to Barton, his face burning with zeal. Your brain is more tempting than I imagined, and it's the best supplement for me. Relax a little. Your mind will merge with mine, and we can witness those great civilizations together. He looked very weak and eager to recover. Barton's heart thumped wildly, and he tried his best to avoid the other party. But no matter how hard he struggled, his body seemed to freeze. He was unable to move at all. Just as he was about to close his eyes, Barton suddenly felt a sharp pain in his right hand, and he immediately regained consciousness. The pale white fog in front of him and the monster-like Vernal disappeared as if they had never appeared. Barton lowered his head numbly and saw that the cigarette in his right hand had reached its limit, burning his fingers. It was a dream, but I found it so realistic. Barton threw away the cigarette in his hand and instinctively stood up using his spirituality and walked to the window. He looked out at the streets and saw that under the street lamps, many pedestrians were passing by in the darkness, wanting to rush home as soon as possible. Among them, an ordinary golden retriever was taking a casual stroll. Chapter 1402, An Ordinary Person's Daily Life, 8 of 8. The scene in front of him was so ordinary that Barton didn't feel that there was anything wrong with it. Although he vaguely felt that there was something familiar about it, he didn't think that it was worth puzzling over it. How could a daily scene not be familiar? His gaze shifted as he looked up into the sky. He saw the crimson moon quietly hanging in the sky, shining with light, causing his mood to settle down involuntarily. At that moment, Barton seemed to have let go of an invisible burden. His body and mind were unusually relaxed. He no longer had the same fear, anxiety, and frustration from before. His spiritual intuition told him that Vernal's matter had come to an end, and it would no longer affect his life. Holy Lord of Storms. Lord, thank you for your blessings. Barton immediately struck his left chest with his right fist and muttered to himself. Without anxiety and tension, he felt exhaustion overwhelm him like a flood. It surged from the depths of his soul, drowning his brain, limbs, and every cell in his body. Barton couldn't help but use the back of his hand to cover his mouth. He yawned, but a satisfied smile appeared on his face. He didn't stay in the study any longer and turned around to leave. He returned to the bedroom and took a pleasant bath, enjoying himself as he drank a small glass of red wine. That night, Barton didn't dream anymore and slept exceptionally soundly. When he woke up in the morning, his mind was relaxed and his spirits were rising. It was as if he had obtained a new life. Looking at his wife, who was still sleeping beside him, Barton carefully got up, changed his clothes, and walked around the neighborhood. He had never realized how wonderful his district was. The air was fresh, the environment was peaceful, and the scenery was pleasant. Even the pedestrians were cultured. This made Barton's mood even better. Once again, he deeply understood that the matter with Vernal had come to an end, and he had returned to his normal, peaceful life. He maintained his mood and went home to enjoy breakfast with his wife and children. During this process, he even told his wife about a joke he read in the newspapers and fulfilled his children's tiny requests. Seeing the smiles on his wife and children's faces, Barton felt satisfied. Then, he put on his coat, hat, and cane before heading out to take a trackless public carriage. He walked all the way to the Lone Relic Search and Preservation Foundation at the periphery of the city. After entering his office, Barton found his usual daily pace. He didn't get right down to work, but prepared the special herbal black tea he had prepared himself. With the black tea, he leisurely read the newspapers that he didn't subscribe to at home. Then, he picked up the letters and documents he had received and read them. Such a process and pace made him feel exceptionally comfortable. The only difference was that Barton was still a little worried about receiving yet another letter from Vernal. However, this concern didn't turn into a reality. About 15 minutes later, someone knocked on his office door. Please come in. Barton picked up his cup and took a sip of his black tea. The person who entered was the ordinary-looking deputy director of the compliance department, Pacheco Duane, who didn't have any characteristics that stood out, but still managed to give off a warm and friendly vibe. Did you sleep well last night? Asked Pacheco as he stood at the door. Excellent. Barton didn't hide anything. Pacheco nodded and smiled. Seems like you've really gotten rid of the effects from this matter. Barton didn't mention the nightmare he had had. Instead, he asked, what about you? I also slept very well. Pacheco replied with a smile. The police have already taken over this matter. It said that they found Vernal last night. Unfortunately, he apparently encountered some misfortune. Poor soul, I hope he can rest in peace. Barton didn't pray that the Lord would protect him, because Vernal had already abandoned his faith in the Lord of Storms. If there were really any blessings to be bestowed, then it would definitely be lightning blasts and storms. With that said, he thought of the help that Pacheco had provided and his friendly attitude. He said, "Shall we have lunch together later?" "Are you treating?" asked Pacheco with a smile. "Of course. It's a pleasure to meet a friend like you." Barton stood up and bowed gentlemanly. Pacheco nodded slightly and said, "Then I'll wait at the compliance department for your invitation. Before 12. No problem." Apart from being grateful to him, Barton also felt that knowing the deputy director of the compliance department would be a great help to his future work. Furthermore, he believed that Pacheco was just like him. In some aspects, he was stronger than the average person. After seeing Pacheco leave his office, Barton sat down again, silently and slowly exhaling. As an ordinary person with a normal IQ, he could tell that the matters regarding Vernal were very strange. It involved the problems of mysticism and religion. In addition, he was actually very interested in the details of the Tamara family's fracturing and the secret history of the Fourth Epoch, and the details to which Vernal had encountered. However, he knew that he couldn't probe further. It was thanks to the great luck of an ordinary person for him to be able to see the tip of the iceberg without dying. If he wanted to figure out the situation beneath the water surface, he would definitely drown to death. The past archaeological expedition made Barton not dare to take the risk, nor did he want to take any risks. To him, curiosity was probably the most worthless thing. After pondering for a while, Barton continued his work. When it was almost noon, he tidied the items on the table and picked up the coat and top hat hanging on the clothes rack. He left the office and walked to the door of the compliance department. Knock, knock, knock. Barton knocked on the wooden door in front of him. Soon, Pacheco opened the door and glanced at Barton. "Give me another 5 minutes. I still have some matters to settle." "No problem." Barton didn't mind at all. "Come on in and wait," Pacheco said casually. Barton didn't stand on ceremony. He walked into the compliance department and found a chair to sit down. As his gaze moved, he realized that there were about 6 to 7 members in the compliance department. Just then, he heard someone knocking on the door. Without waiting for the employees of the compliance department to get up, the door creaked open. The first to enter was the vice president of the Lone Relic Search and Preservation Foundation. He was a lively old man. He looked around and paused for a second before saying, "Seems like everyone is here. Let me introduce you to a new colleague." As he spoke, the vice president took a few steps forward, revealing the new employee of the compliance department behind him. She was a woman in her 20s. She had a high nose bridge and a pair of moist, full lips. Her eyes were dark gray and her face was pretty. She wore a common blue dress. However, there was no expression on her face. She didn't look like a real person. She looked more like a wax statue. The gazes of Barton and Pacheco froze. The vice president continued smiling and said, "She will be like Pacheco, taking on the role of the deputy director of the compliance department. Her name is Alicia Tamara." The end to an ordinary person's daily life. Author's note: there's no way to go in depth in the end to an ordinary person's daily life. This is just a showcase of the tip of the iceberg without going deep. Yes, it's also an experimental form of narrating the story. If the ending is meant to have the effect of horror without any consideration of values, then it will be written as such. As he spoke, the vice president took a few steps forward, revealing the new employee of the compliance department behind him. She was a woman in her 20s. She had a high nose bridge and a pair of moist, full lips. Her eyes were dark gray and her face was pretty. She wore a common blue dress. The gazes of Barton and Pacheco froze. At that moment, the lady's lips curled up as she said with a radiant smile, "Hello everyone. I'm Alicia Tamara." Chapter 1403, in modern day 1. I'm an ordinary company employee. My greatest joy every day is that I can clock off on time. This isn't something that can be realized often, because it's only from working overtime that I can receive a higher salary. Only from doing so can I gain a little sense of security. In this aspect, my boss isn't that bad. At the very least, he'll pay for overtime. Unlike the company next door who only knows how to shout slogans. All they do is pump up the employees without sparing a single penny. Based on my observations, they aren't far from closing down, because their boss is already trying to sell off secondhand computers on his WeChat moments. This isn't something I discovered. I'm not friends with their boss on WeChat. This comes from the mouths of the employees. In this world, it's sexist to say that there's gossip where there are women present. Instead, there's gossip wherever there are people. Of course, I don't have absolute confidence in those words. There was once a time when a dog and a cat made me feel that they were watching us humans with amusement and gossiping. Just like now, the golden retriever that always appears near my office building is sitting at the entrance. Seriously, looking at the grooming of its fur, it doesn't look like it doesn't have a master. How can someone walk a dog without a leash? This kind of person shouldn't be rearing pets. They have no morals at all. There's a necklace around its neck, a rope, and the end of the rope is in its mouth. As I mumble, I recall of an emoticon that has been trending online. It has strong self-control. I snort and cast my eyes beyond the glass doors. The sky is so dark, and large beads of raindrops pummel through the stuffy, humid environment and crash into the ground. It rains so quickly. At this moment, I want to question God. It hadn't been easy for me to get off work on time today. To think that I would encounter a storm. Furthermore, I didn't bring an umbrella with me. Back when I was in the office, I noticed that it was dark and gloomy outside and knew that a storm was coming, but I thought I had enough time to get to the bus stop. By the time my bus arrives close to my rented apartment, the rain should have stopped or be reduced to a drizzle. After all, it's summer and the rain comes and goes quickly. I can't help but raise my middle finger at God. Helpless, I turn my head to look at the golden retriever by the door and casually say, "You didn't bring an umbrella as well?" That was just a self-deprecating comment of mine, but the next moment I'm shocked. The big golden retriever rolls its eyes at me. It rolled its eyes at me. Its eyes. I knew it. This dog has some humanity in it. I look away and mutter. I examine the storm outside again, wondering if I should just run to the bus stop. I sniff, and, considering how I haven't recovered fully from my cold, I hold back the urge. Sigh. As a grown man, isn't it normal to only bring a phone, a transportation card, and a key access card? Who would carry a bag and have an umbrella inside for no reason? These days, I don't even keep change on me. Forget it. I'll just go back to the office and kill time. I'll browse through websites and wait until the rain becomes a drizzle before I leave. If it really doesn't pan out as I expect, then I'll order takeout. I sigh and turn to walk to the elevator. Suddenly, I notice an additional vending machine in one corner of the building lobby. Some coffee? I suddenly feel like drinking something. I did as I thought. With the financial freedom to buy beverages below 10 yuan, I confidently walk over to the vending machine and take a gander at the beverages on sale. Mizone, Nongfu Spring, Master Kong Iced Tea, and Jasmine Tea. I notice something strange when I look through the beverages on display. It's a box, placed in the corner of the topmost row of beverages. What the hell? I glance at the screen and read the scrolling images and text. Soon, I understand what the box is. It's the recently popular real-life loot box. There are loot boxes even with beverages these days. It really is a tax on one's intelligence. Gambling is indeed exciting. I mutter as I scan what possible contents might be in the loot box. D*MN, this is interesting. This loot box is actually related to a new beverage product. It has never appeared on the market before. The bottle has a unique design, and the names are very stylish. Seer, Apprentice, Bard, Warrior, Sleepless. I like that. There's also Lawyer, Assassin, Hunter. I glance at the price of the loot box and realize that it only costs 5 yuan. It's cheaper than I expected, so I decide to give it a try. Life is short, so why not give it a try? As a slave of society, the daily working hours go from 9 to 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Excluding work time, eating, sleeping, and commuting, there's very little free time for leisure. Even the monotonous life would get to robots with this happening day after day. It's just so boring. The property prices are even more depressing. They make you lose the motivation to work hard. One becomes dejected or just takes on a mantra of letting things come as they may. To be able to find a new thrill in cheap forms of entertainment other than novels, comics, videos, and games can be considered a surprise. Taking my phone out, I start scanning the QR code. At the same time, I mutter a few names in my mind. Seer, Sleepless, Spectator, Assassin. These are the beverages that I hope for the most from the loot box. I will be satisfied as long as it's one of them. After paying, the vending machine seemed to be stuck. It didn't move for quite a while. I suspect that it's trying to cheat me. Is it packaging it on the spot? I complain as I seriously consider making a complaint. At this moment, the vending machine finally showed signs of movement. The loot box is pushed out and falls to the dispenser with a thud. It's time to witness a miracle. I bend down and push open the sliding panel of the dispenser and pull out the loot box that I really can't consider exquisitely packaged. After I quickly open the box, I see a bottle wrapped in coiled snakes. Based on what I saw on the screen, I'm able to recognize which drink it is. As an Assassin's Creed gamer, this is an outcome I've been looking forward to. Assassin. Chapter 1404, in modern day 2. Nice. I can't help but snap my fingers with my free hand. As someone who has never even won a consolation prize, to be able to get a beverage I wanted is simply exciting. Furthermore, the most important thing is that I only spent 5 yuan. Otherwise, I'll definitely hit it trying it 10 times in a row. I need to keep this bottle well. I put away my phone, open the can, and take a mouthful of the beverage. In the next second, my head suddenly turns a little numb. I feel like everything around me has become abnormally blurry, and my entire body becomes light, as though I'm about to turn into a feather. In this strange feeling, I vaguely hear muffled ravings that sound like fingernails scratching a blackboard. The taste of a demoness ain't bad. The taste of a demoness ain't bad. The taste of a demoness ain't bad. This brings an indescribable pain, and I lose all my ability to think. By the time the torture ends, I can't remember what happened towards the end, but I know that my face must have been very twisted and hideous. F***CK. What the hell is this beverage? I turn angrily to look at the vending machine. At that moment, my head is spinning, and my eyes swell. I have the feeling that I'll collapse at any moment. However, this doesn't stop me from discovering a fact. The vending machine that still existed moments ago has disappeared. Holy sh**t. I can't take my spinning head and the soreness in my eyes. I quickly remove my glasses and prepare to squeeze my nose bridge. However, just as I take off my glasses, everything returns to normal. My head doesn't spin and my eyes no longer ache. My vision remains clear, clearer than even before my myopia. I scan my surroundings, and every detail is reflected in my eyes. Even a dozen meters away, a mosquito silently suspended on a black stone is vividly clear. I've recovered from my short-sightedness. That bout of fainting was because of the glasses. I glance around once more, and for some reason, I feel that my vision has exceeded that of a normal person's. As I try hard to recall, I gradually come to a realization. I can change part of my body structure for a short amount of time. I can obtain feather-like lightness. Even if I jump from high above, I won't be hurt. A hawk-like vision that allows me to see through the darkness. I'm good at hiding in the shadows. My steps are nimble and my body is agile. The instantaneous strength I can release is tremendous. I can concentrate all my strength into a single strike. As I suspect that the assassin beverage that I had just taken was actually some mental drug that gives me hallucinations, I also feel that something might have really happened due to my recovery from short-sightedness. I put on my glasses again and realize that it does leave me faint. No way this is real. The vending machine is gone. It was still there a moment ago. Did I have a fortuitous encounter? I cast my gaze out of the lobby and see people carrying umbrellas or have their backpacks raised in the heavy rain, running about in a hurry. Before this, I could only barely see silhouettes in this scene, but now, I can confirm the features of every pedestrian. Of course, the prerequisite is that they aren't wearing face masks. A fortuitous encounter. Don't tell me it's really a fortuitous encounter. I would occasionally fantasize about having a fortuitous encounter, for example, striking lottery worth 10 to 20 million yuan, but I never expected such a day. Moreover, it's the assassin ability that I wanted the most. Even if it's fake, just healing my short-sightedness makes me give this fortuitous encounter full marks. I control my excitement and joy and carefully examine my body. After confirming that there's nothing wrong with it, I close my eyes and mutter to myself, "Thank you, God. Thank you, vending machine. Thank you, loot box." I have to find a place to test the leap of faith. I've recovered from my cold too. I'll think further about it after the rain stops. I look around again, eager to test what it means to have dexterous steps, agility, and explosive power. Of course, as a normal person with regular intelligence, I know that I should avoid others in times like this, lest I expose my fortuitous encounter and create a series of unknown developments. At this moment, due to the heavy rain, the people inside the building either have to work overtime or have already left. Those without umbrellas either have realized the reality of things or haven't left the office. They either return to the office or bravely run to the bus stop. Therefore, other than the 2 security guards who have their backs to me, there's no one else in the lobby. I can give it a try. Yes, there's a dog. So what if I'm seen by a dog? It doesn't understand anything. Would it be able to tell anyone? I immediately widen my pace and run toward the elevator. I can feel the changes in my body. Using a machine as an analogy, my body used to be a rusted machine that had been soaked in water. Now, it was a new, lubricated machine. A few steps later, I suddenly remember something. Previously, several companies in the building had been a victim of theft. Through the surveillance cameras, the police found the criminal. In other words, there are surveillance cameras in the lobby, and my every move is being monitored. Bear with it. I stop my attempts and turn back to look at the spots where there might be cameras. My gaze sweeps across the huge golden retriever at the door. It's still impassively looking at the rain outside. I'll wait till I get home. I let out a slow sigh, hold my glasses, and head for the elevator. I heard from my gossiping colleagues at the company that the theft was done by a young rag-and-bone man from nearby. In the past, this guy was the son of a rich man. Later on, his family waned, and he could only make a living being a rag-and-bone man. However, the police never found him. I take the elevator and go back to the 10th floor. My mind is filled with how to be an assassin hiding in the city's shadows. Nothing is true. Everything is permitted. I mutter a few slogans and exit the elevator. Glancing around, I see a figure standing by the window at the elevator lobby. He has rare, long silver hair. His features are very distinctive, so I recognize him. He's the vice president of the company next door, whose surname is Wu. Of course, this might only be his Chinese surname, because he's either a foreigner or a mixed blood. It's such a pity that this guy isn't an idol. He's so good-looking that even the girls in our company often try to coincidentally bump into him. They give him flowers and food. It's like he has everything easy in the game of life. The boss next door really has bad taste. With such an employee, I'd have long changed to running an entertainment company. I don't know what the company next door is busy with every day. Until today, I don't even know what they do. All of them are garrulous, completely unlike Roseanne when she's joking. They're probably doing multi-level marketing, right? I quickly retract my gaze and not greet him. After all, we're not familiar with each other. But just at this moment, I see that guy turn around and walk over. Chapter 1405, in modern day 3. Under normal circumstances, I wouldn't be nervous if the vice president from next door came to me. After all, I'm not under his jurisdiction. And I'm not a girl either. My sexual orientation is very normal. No matter how good he looks, it has nothing to do with me. I'm even a little jealous. But now, I've just drunk a bottle of some strange beverage of unknown origins and obtained the abilities of an assassin I've been dreaming of. No matter who comes near me, I can't help but feel uneasy, afraid that others might discover my secret. At this moment, the silver-haired guy stops in front of me and says coldly, "Do you have a lighter?" This isn't an attitude a person should have when asking someone for help. Why are you looking at someone like you're looking at an object? Also, the greatest hobby of youngsters nowadays is to stay up late instead of smoking. Why would I bring a lighter with me? No, I shake my head. At the same time, I sigh inwardly. If the female colleagues in my company find out that the handsome vice president next door smokes, they would definitely have their fantasies crushed. This vice president's appearance and temperament easily makes one believe he's some untainted immortal. It's impossible to associate him with vices like smoking. With this in mind, I can't help but ask casually, "Smoking?" The vice president, who has long silver hair and a beautiful face, raises his right hand, revealing a cigarette between his fingers. "People are under the impression that you don't smoke," I reply with a smile. As a slave of society, it's normal for me not to be afraid of the vice president of the company next door. However, ensuring a cordial relationship is almost definite. After all, one has no idea when they will need to job hop and become their subordinate. Having one more friend means one more outlet. Of course, if this gentleman keeps staying in the company next door, then I won't consider such matters. I don't want to enter a weirdo company that just yells slogans 800 times a day. However, if they're willing to pay me a salary of more than 30,000 yuan a month, I dare say that I'll jump ship today. This is the business world, and the first principle is to not go against money. Anyway, as long as I don't violate the law and do not commit crimes, what's wrong with shouting slogans? If I get paid 100 yuan with every shout, I can shout until I make the company go bankrupt. Hearing my words, the vice president seems to fall silent for a moment before saying, "A friend of mine taught me. When it comes to vices like smoking, who doesn't get introduced to it by friends? Only a small number of parents will lead their children astray." Just as I lampoon inwardly, the vice president next door says in fluent Mandarin, "He's been dead for many years." "I'm sorry," I respond reflexively. After that, I find it strange. Why are you telling me this? This vice president doesn't look too smart. Since we aren't familiar with each other, I exchange a few pleasantries and stop. I'm too lazy to bother. I point to the corridor leading to my workplace. I have matters to tend to. The vice president nods without any change in expression. He turns around and walks back to the window by the elevator lobby, as if he's watching the rainy scene below. I leave the elevator lobby and take a right turn into my workplace and head to the office where my department is located. They're all gone. They took all the umbrellas? I switch on the lights and scan the room. That's right. It hadn't rained when clocking off at regular hours. I left 10 minutes later and happened to be caught in the rain. Seeing that there was no one in the office, my thoughts became active. I originally thought of watching videos in the office, checking out the young ladies dancing indoors, and finding inspiration from live eating broadcasts to figure out what to eat for dinner. But now, I'm very restless, and I want to test out the various abilities of an assassin. Among them, the thing that attracts me the most is leap of faith. No, feather drop spell. No, that's not right either. Who knows what it's called? In short, it's the ability to temporarily change my body structure and land on the ground like a light feather. This is undoubtedly the most surreal ability of assassins. Of course, it is also equally important to me that I've had my short-sightedness cured and gained excellent vision. I have to give it a try. I slip my glasses into my pocket and dash to the side window of the big office. It faces a small alley. There's a refuse room that's erected there, and no one usually walks past it, let alone when it's heavily raining now. 10 stories, an empty alley. It's the best place to test the leap of faith. I open the window and cast my gaze down. There are no signs of any pedestrians in the heavy rain. The roads are bleak and gloomy. It's dark everywhere. The refuse room looks like a small hand could cover it from the 10th floor. Forget it. It's better to find somewhere lower for the first test. Just as I reveal an embarrassed and polite smile, I hear a voice behind me. What are you doing? Startled, I turn quickly. Then, I see my boss. He had walked into the large office with one hand in his pocket at some point in time. He's looking at me. Mr. Huang, I'm checking to see if the rain has stopped. I quickly think of one reason. My president's surname is Huang, with the first name Tao, a very handsome, fashionable man. At the same time, he's a strange man who became a father at the age of 18. His daughter has already started college this year. He's only 36 years old and is still swimming through the gals. He stays on the periphery amidst the embrace of news anchors and actresses. CEO Huang doesn't seem to have any doubts about my reason. He nods and says, "You didn't bring an umbrella? The more you live, the younger you become." Glancing at the president's hair, which had been dyed chestnut, I honestly reply, "Don't have such a habit." CEO Huang lifts his hand and strokes his chin. "I have a few spare umbrellas in my office. Come over and take one." "You prepared so many?" I ask in a respectful tone. After all, he's the one paying my salary, and it's quite sizable. CEO Huang smiles and says, "It's from the few ladies from before. As you know, they always like to bring umbrellas with them." "You've extended the battlefield of your flings to the office? Didn't you say that the thing you're afraid of the most is letting your daughter know about this? Doesn't your daughter visit your office every week?" I'm first left surprised before nodding. "All right." CEO Huang doesn't say anything else as he turns and walks towards the door. The way he's standing and how his body is posed gives me a strange feeling. I believe that if I were to seize this opportunity and unleash my full strength, I'll definitely be able to backstab him. Is this an assassin's instinct? Just as I have this thought, I see CEO Huang stop in his tracks and turn his head back. Did he sense my ill intent? My body stiffens. CEO Huang seems to be deep in thought as he slowly asks, "How's your accent?" "Passable," I mutter carelessly. CEO Huang nods. "Help me pick up a VIP at the airport tomorrow morning. I'll get old AI to send you the details." "Okay." I don't dare to say no. After agreeing, I ask, "Mr. Huang, the VIP is a foreigner?" "Yes." CEO Huang gives an affirmative reply. At the mention of this topic, I can't help but ask, "Mr. Huang, why are there so many foreigners around us? We even have to come up with a foreign name in the company." CEO Huang leans back slightly and says, "What is an international metropolitan city?" This is it. Chapter 1406, in modern day 4. After borrowing an umbrella from CEO Huang, I decided to immediately leave the company and return to my rented apartment. I plan on testing out my newfound assassin powers in what's considered the safest environment. I live in those old districts that haven't been spruced up. I spend nearly an hour commuting via public transport. The place is filled with old and shabby houses. It's completely different from the high-end buildings found in the new city districts. But living here is more convenient. Besides, the rent is quite cheap. Since I'm clocked off on the dot today, and there wasn't much of a delay during the journey back and forth, it's still not yet 6 o'clock. Even if I settle my dinner near my neighborhood, I'll arrive home before 7 o'clock. It's in line with the habits of a modern person. Therefore, I didn't consider settling my dinner near the office. Instead, I rushed to the bus stop with my umbrella. This umbrella is colorful, and it has rabbit ears on it. It really isn't suitable for a stealthy man like me. I look up and run out the door. One has to bow when under the umbrella after all. By now, the storm has gone on for about 10 minutes, and the ground is beginning to pond. If it were in the past, I would have stepped into a puddle and stained my shoes and pants with dirt and mud. But now, my feet are deft, sharp, accurate, and each step is light. I manage to keep my pants and shoes clean in the rain. As expected of an assassin, I glance at the bus stop that's just a few feet away from me. Just as I'm about to cross the non-motor vehicle lane, I suddenly see a man walk past me without an umbrella or raincoat. His hair is already wet under the heavy rain. His clothes cling to his body as they droop down, water streaming down continuously. His image is so pathetic, yet his posture remains so relaxed. He isn't running at all. All he does is keep his hands in his pockets as he strolls forward. Impressive. Due to the rain and the dark sky, I'm unable to discern his face clearly. I only watch him walk past me. Perhaps sensing my gaze, the man suddenly takes out a cigarette from his pocket and puts it in his mouth. He mutters softly, "Wimp." I dig my ear with my empty right hand. Who is he talking about? Forget it. I won't argue with a lunatic. I'm in a good mood today. I ignore the man, step up to the bus stop platform, and wait for my bus to arrive. My luck isn't bad. It takes about a minute before bus 35 arrives. Taking out my travel card, I close the umbrella and rush forward. Hearing the beep, I suddenly feel a little emotional. If only the travel card can be stored on my phone's NFC, it would be more convenient. I only need to bring my phone when I'm out. Door locks, the subway, and public buses can all be resolved through my cell phone. If I switch my door lock to a fingerprint one, I don't even need to bring my keys with me. That's what I call convenience. As I think about it, I find a seat. perhaps due to the heavy rain and that it's sometime after peak hour, there are still quite a few empty seats left on the usually crowded bus. Unfortunately, the prerequisite for switching to a fingerprint lock is for me to have my own house. My fantasy is defeated by cold reality. In this international metropolitan city, with my salary, I don't know when I'll be able to afford a house if I don't get help from my parents. I can't help but wonder how to use the powers of an assassin to make money. Take on assassin missions? No, it's illegal. Although I'm a real, powerful assassin now, I can't beat bullets. Besides, I don't know where to take on such missions either. It's against the law to break into houses and steal. Besides, other people don't have their money dropping from trees, unless I can lock onto a corrupt official. I have agile footwork, nimble limbs, and eagle-like vision. How do I earn money with these? Be a security guard? But how much can a security guard earn every month? Or try dancing? With this kind of control over the body, my dancing will definitely be very impressive. Then, I can do a live broadcast. However, I'm tone deaf. As I think through the possibilities, I suddenly feel a little depressed. It wasn't easy for a miracle to fall from the sky, yet I can't use it to improve my life or earn lots of money with it. It cured my short-sightedness at the very least. It's a medical miracle that can't be bought even with millions. I exhale slowly and tell myself not to be too greedy. At this moment, I suddenly feel a chill. It's not from the air conditioning, but a coldness that pierced through my skin. I turn my head and look to the side, only to see that there's no one sitting there. My instincts tell me that there's something invisible there. Hiss, a ghost. I can sense ghosts after becoming an assassin. I first widen my eyes and carefully observe. Then, I retract my gaze and pretend not to notice anything. If the ghost realizes that I can see it, I'm doomed. Assassins do not have abilities to deal with ghosts. My body uncontrollably tenses up. I try to act as if nothing had happened, but I'm helpless. The chilly feeling grows stronger, as if it's getting closer and closer to me. I look straight, but a vision appears in my mind. A blurry man with a bluish-black face draws nearer and nearer to me. He leans to my ear and blows his breath on my face to test my reaction. This cold lasts for nearly a minute before it gradually weakens. Before long, the bus stops and the two doors open at the same time. The cold and terrifying aura disappears. The ghost reached its stop? Even ghosts use buses to travel? Amazing. I relax and have a better understanding of the changes in my body. I'm not surprised that there are ghosts because I have become an assassin. Everything is possible. The bus stops along the way and I arrived at Hong Kong North Road 50 minutes later. My rental apartment is nearby. Since the storm has stopped, I don't use the umbrella. I get off the bus and go straight for the place I had planned on eating while on the bus. Yuzhou Stir Fry. There are many old shops in this old district that serve delicious food at cheap prices. This is one of them. If it weren't for the rain earlier, many tables would be set up outside. Inside the store, I casually glance around. I smile as I walk to a table and sit opposite a young man. He ordered only a bowl of Yuxiang shredded pork and white rice. He's looking at his phone while eating with full focus. Not on a date. I rap the table, startling the guy opposite me. He's my childhood friend, Peng Deng. Recently, he's also been working in this international metropolitan city. As I helped him find a place to live, we ended up living very close to each other. It's all in the same neighborhood. How can I have a date when the weather is so bad? Peng Deng looks up at me. He doesn't put down his phone and asks, "Want to play some ranked matches tonight?" I'm not free. I have no intention of playing games right now. I just want to try the leap of faith. Peng Deng studies me intently for a few seconds. You have a girlfriend? I hope so too. I turn my head to the boss. 1 stir-fried sliced beef, 1 tomato fried egg soup, and a bottle of Coke. When something good befalls one, celebrations are in order. Chapter 1407, in modern day 5. Upon hearing my reply, Peng Deng lowered his head again. As he looks at his phone, he feeds himself and casually asks, "What else is there after work? Don't you work overtime if something's up?" Good question. I lean the umbrella and seriously think of an excuse. Peng Deng is a typical smartphone zombie who doesn't even focus on eating. Most of his attention is on his cell phone, but he's actually a very sharp person. He's good at capturing details and can always easily see through my lies. Of course, most of those lies were a product of not putting enough thought into it. They're more like jokes. I can't tell him that I'm trying to jump off a building, right? After some thought, I wrap the table. My boss wants me to pick up a foreign guest at the airport tomorrow, and he'll only give me the details at night. I'll have to make some preparations. I need to practice my accent and contact a driver to confirm the schedule. It's plenty of work. Yeah. Peng Deng takes a bite of rice and the meat shreds before swallowing it. Then, he asks with a smile, "The Casanova boss you mentioned before?" I never said that. I outright deny Peng Deng's claim. When he looked up at me, I smiled. I said he fooled around. You mustn't make mistakes when passing judgment. TCH. Peng Deng replies before looking down at his phone. Before long, the dishes I ordered are served. 1 is stir-fried sliced beef, and the other is tomato fried egg soup. The oil on the former glistened, and the aroma of celery perfectly fused with the beef's aroma. The meat was very tender, and its juices were salty, but not excessive. The sauce was filled with flavors, and with just one plate of this meat, I could finish it with 3 bowls of rice. The tomato fried egg soup is part of Sichuan cuisine. Lard is used first. After it's heated up, beaten eggs with water and salt are added to the mix until it's completely cooked. This way, the fried eggs would be fluffier, and there will be a certain level of saltiness to it. Following that, water and processed tomatoes are put in, along with a few green vegetables. Finally, the soup will have the obvious fragrance of oil and eggs, mixed with the sweet and sourness of tomatoes. The freshness of the green vegetables make the soup have the delight of a meat soup, but without the cloyed taste at all. Just as I drink a bowl of delicious egg soup, the boss walks over with a bowl of rice and a bottle of cold Coke. Ice cock. I can't help laughing inwardly as I heard his accent. Considering that I have to jump off a building later, it wouldn't be good to eat too much. I ultimately only have 2 bowls of rice. Of course, I definitely wouldn't waste the meat and eggs. At this moment, Peng Deng still has a third of his food left. Don't use your phone while eating. Don't eat while using your phone. I stand up and give him a heartfelt lecture. At the same time, I boldly pay only for my share. Peng Deng and I aren't hypocritical friends who insist on footing the bill. Furthermore, it's the end of the month. Finances are always a little tight during this time of the month. F***ck, you didn't even give me a bottle of Coke. It only took this long before Peng Deng realized it. I'm done eating. I pick up the umbrella leaning against the table. Extravagant. Peng Deng appraises my choice of buying a bottle of Coke. Something good happened to you? Or are you moonlighting? Before he can ask me, his gaze suddenly stops on the umbrella with the rabbit ears in my hand. Hey. He makes a strange sound. My boss lent it to me. You know that he has many girlfriends. I understand what Peng Deng is thinking. How boring. Peng Deng turns his attention back to his phone again. I enter the old compound of my rented apartment after leaving the shop. The tallest building is only 6 stories, so there aren't any elevators. When I pass the entrance to the first floor, I catch a glimpse of the mailbox. Through the corner of my eye. Some memories churn, making me walk over involuntarily and open the letterbox that belongs to Unit 602. There's a postcard lying quietly inside. Even without looking, I know that she was the one who had sent it. She was a middle school classmate and high school classmate with me and Peng Deng. She later went overseas for studies and is currently working in this city. Her family background is good, and she often travels. From time to time, she'll send local specialties or postcards to friends in the same city. I hesitate for 2 seconds before picking up the postcard. The back is indeed familiar as graceful handwriting is plastered across it. This is the famous Sedlec ossuary around here. I flip the postcard and take a look. The pillars and walls that are lined with skulls make me feel horrified. Then, I feel that strange sense of holiness. Shaking my head, I put away the postcard and return to Unit 602. This is an old apartment with 2 bedrooms and 1 bathroom. It has a history of at least 20 years. I live in a guest room, and a young couple lives in the master bedroom. This couple are nice people. Not only do they have a sense of hygiene, but they often cook by themselves and invite me to eat together. The only problem is that they quarrel at least twice a week. It's quite annoying. I plan to move to stay with Peng Deng when the rental contract is over. Of course, the prerequisite is that he hasn't started living with his girlfriend yet. After putting down the umbrella, I go to the window of the guest room. I peek out and look outside, considering whether I should jump. Although the rain has stopped, the sky is already dark and there aren't many pedestrians. 6th floor. Forget it. I'll go to the building with the small supermarket. I think it's better to be safe for the first time. It's only 3 stories. This neighborhood is very old, and it has a large population. Hence, there are plenty of stores on the 1st floor. There are hairdressers, eateries, as well as grocery stores and repair shops. One doesn't even need to leave the compound to have access to these amenities. I change into black clothes as a protective color and take my keys and phone. I arrive at a small supermarket after circling the compound for a while. I go up the stairs to the rooftop. Looking at the height, I finally feel confident. When I headed downstairs just now, I tried to jump from one flight of stairs to the other. It greatly improved my confidence in the leap of faith. Waiting until there's no one below me, I take a deep breath, climb over the railing fence, and pose in a ready stance. It's raining and the road is very slippery. How about next time? If I fall and get sent to the hospital, I'll die a societal death if everyone misunderstands this as me attempting suicide. It's only 3 stories. There was nothing wrong with the feeling I had just now. After some random thought, I raise my middle finger at myself and exhale slowly. With a tremble, I leap up and adjust my body. The speed I descend at is slower than normal. The wind turns into a blanket, holding me up in silence. This kind of slowness is only relative. I still quickly land on the ground steadily, without wobbling or splashing up the muddy water on the ground. At that moment, I feel like a sharp feather. What a marvelous feeling. 10 points. I praise myself. This is really too exciting. I'm a true blue assassin who has surpassed all mortals. Heart blazing, I dash back to the building where my rented apartment is. I can't wait to test the leap of faith from the 6th floor. The experience just now tells me that 6 floors isn't a problem. If it's any higher, I'll have to be like Jackie Chan, finding items in the middle, like an air conditioner, to break my fall, jumping down several floors at a time. On the way, I widen my eyes in an attempt to find any acts of sexual misconduct by hooligans, robberies by ruffians, or extortions by baddies. I want to let them have a taste of the power of an assassin, but, sigh, the security in the neighborhood is really good. I sigh and head home. At this moment, my phone rings twice. I take it out and discover that it's from my company's old AI. It's the information regarding our VIP. Zarathustra, what a complicated name. I smirk and decide on reading the details after another leap of faith. Sigh. Even if I'm an extraordinary assassin, I still have to work on stuff my boss instructs me to do after work, like, as the Japanese put it, a shichiku, a corporate cattle. Otherwise, I won't be able to survive. What can an assassin do? Buy a Spider-Man's mask and do a parkour livestream session? Without being in a rush to enter the bedroom, I once again think about how to make money using my assassin abilities. At this moment, someone knocks on the door. Who is it? I ask loudly. I'm here to check on temporary living permits, someone outside replies. I don't have it, goodbye. I lampoon as I walk to the door and look outside through the peephole. 2 people in police uniforms stand outside the door, with one of them standing in front, blocking the face of the other. He has a receding hairline, and his eyes are slightly gray. For some reason, I suddenly quiver and feel inexplicably sad. I open the door. My surname is Deng, and I'm the officer in charge of this compound. The gray-eyed officer introduces himself with a smile. Then, he looks at the information in his hand. Zhou Mingrui, am I right? Chapter 1408, in modern day 6. Yes. For some reason, I'm restrained and a little sad. It's almost indescribable. It's as if someone had punched my nose. My eyes are sore, and I'm about to cry. I can understand the restraint. Apart from a few people, most ordinary people would definitely be rather cautious when facing the police. I'm no exception. But why do I have the sudden urge to cry? These emotional changes and fluctuations are beyond my expectations. From what I know, such a situation wouldn't even happen to an extremely sensitive artistic youth. Could this be the side effects of the assassin potion? Is this the price for obtaining superpowers? I blink and control my emotions. Then, I hear Officer Deng say, "Your temporary living permit." Before he can finish, another officer whispers, "Captain, it's called a residence permit now. You've forgotten again." Yes. I forgot. Officer Deng wasn't embarrassed at all. He smiled and said to me, "Where's your residence permit?" I didn't apply for it. I didn't lie, nor do I wish to lie. This won't do. Officer Deng shook his head. Although we won't do anything to you because you don't have a residence permit, this is still rather important. Before you become a permanent resident here, if your child wants to study in a public kindergarten here, a residence permit is required. I don't even have a girlfriend. I smirk forcefully but politely again. Needless to say, I don't have children. Even for you as an individual, a residence permit is very important. As you know, it's very difficult to settle down in our city. Apart from special talents that we let in or people who take different paths, your residence permit, under normal circumstances, needs a few years. Anyway, it's a few years before you're qualified to apply for settlement. This is as important as paying for Social Security. Officer Deng added. This makes me feel the concern of an elder. I don't argue with him and nod. Yes, I'll get it done this week. Officer Deng smiled and said, opposite to your compound is a police station that can help you in the residential application. He then looks at me. By the way, in the past 2 to 3 months, an illegal religion has been illegally proselytizing in the city. They also use the classic multi-level marketing techniques. They use more modern terms like a fully automatic wishing machine to entice ordinary people to walk the path of evil. If you encounter them, make sure to be careful and remember to report it to us. Fully automatic wishing machine. My heart skips a beat at the mention of it. It sounds very similar to a vending machine. However, no one tried to proselytize to me back then. Okay, I don't dare to show any hesitation. I think for a second before answering. Thank you for your cooperation. Officer Deng doesn't say anything else as he smiles and puts away the tiny notebook in his hand. Just as he turns around halfway, he suddenly stops. By the way, I forgot something. For some reason, my eyes blur upon hearing that. It's a joint tenancy, right? Who's living in the other room? Officer Deng asks in a mellow voice. I close my eyes and calm my fluctuating emotions. It's a couple. A lady with the surname Sia and her overseas boyfriend. I see. Officer Deng nods. Remember to remind them to register their residence. All right. I watch as Officer Deng turns around. Only then do I see the officer standing behind him. His black hair and green eyes make him look like a celebrity. Green eyes? He's mixed blood? Or is he wearing colored contacts? I mumble inwardly. The green-eyed officer looks at me for a few seconds before suddenly smiling. That evil cult's means are more secretive than you can imagine. It's very hard to defend against them. At times, you won't need to pay any price to benefit from them. But believe me, you will definitely suffer immensely in the future. My heart palpitates. When I hear this fellow, I recall the assassin potion and the leap of faith I obtained. I got it for 5 yuan. Could it really be that cult? What do they want from me after giving me superpowers? I understand. I'll make a report. I try hard not to show my fear as I reply to the green-eyed police officer. After sending them off, I return to the cramped guest room and sit down on the bed. I face the computer desk as I contemplate over what happened today. It doesn't make much sense. If that vending machine really was created by that cult, there's no need for them to hide. If they give every believer a bottle like the assassin beverage, then they can rule the world. Perhaps there are restrictions, but an organization that can obtain superpowers is definitely not simple. It's not something the likes of ordinary cults can achieve. But what's the point of giving me superpowers? To get a fighter? It's not like I'd go. If they dare to look for me, I'll dare to call the police. Money? I'm just from an ordinary family in a small city. Although my family has a place to stay, in order to provide for my other 2 siblings, my parents haven't managed to save up much money. It wasn't until Benson and I started working that our family situation improved slightly. After some thought, I pick up my phone and tap open WeChat. I find my brother, Benson Zhou, who works as a civil servant. B, did you offend anyone recently? I send a message. B is the nickname I gave Benson. It stems from the B in his name since he's balding. Who can I offend? Very quickly, Benson replies. I'm just a puny civil servant. I work cautiously every day, and I'm not a politician. I don't even serve the public at a window. Who can I offend? Before I can respond, he sends another message. What's wrong? What happened? I encountered something that I suspect to be fraud, but I don't have anything worth being scammed of, I reason. Benson replies one line at a time. No matter how poor a person is, there's still value in scamming them. Who doesn't have any friends or family? If you don't have money, can't you borrow it? Borrow from the people around you or on the internet. Get all kinds of microloans, and that adds up to a huge sum. Besides, you still have your body. Can't you sell your kidney, cornea, and blood? Besides, there are many female clubs nowadays. Who knows which customer would like your type? WTF, stop scaring me. After sending this text, I quickly add, thankfully, I didn't take the hit. I don't want Benson to worry about my drinking of the assassin beverage. I have to be careful. I need to immediately make a report to the police for any abnormalities around me. After chatting for a while, Benson reminds me. Anyway, don't be greedy. Also, Sasa will be here before school starts. Remember to pick her up. Got it. I send him a popular emoji. It's a monocle-wearing emoji. Faced with monocle after ending the conversation, I lose the urge to continue attempting the leap of faith. I sit by the bed, feeling a little frightened and worried. After a while, I subconsciously pick up my phone and look at WeChat and QQ. Among them, one of the QQ group chats has plenty of messages. It was a group that I built because we play horror and mystery games. It's called the Tarot Club, and it's filled with other netizens. I take a quick scan at it and see someone named the Star send a message. Everyone, be careful. A mysterious cult has appeared. Chapter 1409, in modern-day 7. Cult? My attention is immediately drawn to this word. What has a cult got to do with us? A group member named Judgment asks. Mysterious? How mysterious? A group member named Justice asks. All kinds of messages appear in the group. It's rather overwhelming. I originally created this group when I was playing a horror, mystery game. I invited friends who were quite good at the game back then, and such games often contain mysticism-related elements. Therefore, after the game gradually lost its popularity, the group turned into a group that leaned towards discussing mysticism. Of course, in any chat group, daily interactions take up the majority of the content, except for sex-related chat groups. Amongst the members, the lady named Justice is most curious about mysticism. From her daily conversations, I can tell that her family background is quite good and she isn't too old. I think she's a student. After the group members are done asking, the Star types, that cult likes to attack ordinary people, especially those who like mysticism. They will use all sorts of methods to allow you to obtain powers that exceed the limit of mortals. For example, the later it is at night, the more energetic you are. I already have this superpower. A group member named the Magician replies excitedly. She's also a girl. I remember her mentioning that she has a sizable income from writing novels on a certain green-colored website and is considered one of the phenomenal writers there. However, from the way she makes all kinds of suggestive comments when she speaks, perhaps the green-colored website I'm aware of isn't the same website she was talking about. Compared to the day, I prefer the night, says a group member named the Moon. What is this fellow trying to say? Is he like a night owl, or is he hinting at something? I scratch my chin, unable to read the thoughts of the moon. This fellow has always been like this. If you want to say that he has deep knowledge, he will post links regarding exquisite dolls in the group chat from time to time, asking everyone to help him at some price-slashing site. It's obvious that he's some type of shut-in. But to call him naive and immature, he often says profound things. Whether it's Chinese medicine, Western medicine, or even all kinds of relatively unknown medical knowledge, he gives off impressive vibes with his theories and examples, even if I can hardly understand it. Previously, he had diagnosed that one of our group members, the hermit, had a rare disease. He successfully helped her recovery from an old ailment of hers, making everyone see him in a different light. The star ignores the moon and replies to the magician. Then can you only sleep 2 hours a day? I can, but I can only maintain it for a week. I have to catch up on my sleep after that. Furthermore, my body will feel like it's been run over by a car, with tire tracks on my relieved face. The magician replies. The star continues. Anyway, the cult will first allow you to obtain Superman-like powers. For example, you can remain extremely energetic despite sleeping for 2 hours every day. You can see all kinds of spirits, jump off tall buildings without suffering any damage, and control flames, etc., etc. Isn't this good? Justice immediately replies. The sun, judgment, and magician say, isn't this good? +1, +1. I think for a moment and used my alternate account, the world. +1, the star sends an emoji. Grimacing face. A price is always exacted for what fate bestows. I didn't say that. Lusun.jpg. The magician replies immediately. I suspect this is a subconscious reflex of hers. Is there really a power that transcends the mortal world? Justice asks. Clearly, she had imagined that the star was joking. Without waiting for the star to respond, the moon says, there are too many things in the world that go beyond your imagination. It doesn't mean they don't exist just because you don't see them. The sun immediately replies. There's some mysticism that's real? Stop fooling kids. Face with steam from nosed. A group member named the Hangman sends an emoji. That's right. There are still young schooling children. One shouldn't talk about the strange and supernatural to children or make suggestive comments. The magician echoes in all seriousness. The sun replies, I am already in middle school. I'm more than 1.9 meters tall. When everyone sees the claim of being 1.9 meters tall, everyone falls silent. After a while, the star sends an emoji. Downcast face with sweat. In short, once one is bewitched by the cult and accepts their gift, they will definitely have to pay a huge price after joining them. I heard that some people went mad and got admitted into a mental hospital. Some of them committed suicide in various ways, dying rather hideously. Others transformed. Before he can finish, he suddenly stops. His profile picture indicates he has gone offline. What transformation? I ask with my alt, the world. My main account is the fool, a mature man worthy of trust. Therefore, I can't ask questions casually. Could the star be held down by those cultists? The magician gives a very imaginative idea. Haha, how could there be such a thing? I'm talking about a mysterious cult full-fledged. Judgment is also a girl who always echoes the magician. After making this joke, the star comes online again and says, F***ck, there was a sudden blackout just now. I had no choice but to switch phones. Well, that's all from me. I have to head out. I have matters to tend to. Anyway, there's no such thing as a free lunch, so don't eat it. Don't be bewitched by the cult. Bye. As the star goes offline, I suddenly receive private messages. They come from the Hangman and the Hermit. Take note. I think the star might be a member of the cyber police. The star might be a policeman. Be careful what you say in the group chat. It's really possible to actually know about mysterious cults. I immediately reply to the two group members. It's fine. We're not a cult. Smirking face. It's not like I'm always the one making suggestive comments. Most importantly, when discussing international and domestic situations, I would stop it in time and send a picture that says, improper discussion about the imperial court is a crime that leads to death. Glancing at the group chat again, I quit QQ and once again start thinking about what I should do. After some thought, I'm still out of solutions. It's impossible for me to spit out the assassin beverage, nor can I vomit it out. I can only pretend that I don't know anything and ignore recruitment attempts of any cults. If I meet them, I'll immediately call the police. I force myself to focus on my savings and wallet. At the thought of this, I immediately free myself from my worries and begin to work. This is about being a slave of society. After confirming the flight details, the chauffeur, the hotel arrangements, and the pickup sign, I do a round of oral practice. By the time I'm done with all of that, it's already 10 in the evening. I feel hungry. I guess I'll go down and buy some snacks. I decide not to treat myself shabbily. As soon as I walk out of the guest room, I hear a quarrel from next door. Of course, it's mainly that lady named Sia Taz, who's shouting at her overseas boyfriend. Don't you get tired of that? Just as I'm about to lampoon, I realize that the quarrel is getting softer and softer. According to my experience, something inappropriate for minors will happen next. Although I'm not a minor, I'm single. After some thought, I return to my room, open the window, and jump onto the windowsill before jumping down with great familiarity. In the wind, my body feels light as if all my worries have been blown away. After landing safely, I heave a sigh of relief. I feel like I've completely grasped the power of assassin. The area outside the compound I live in remains lively late into the night. There are a few barbecue stalls, some selling fried rice, some selling stir-fried noodles. Some sell street food, like stewed meat, cold vegetables, duck necks, and crayfish. People who pass by will unknowingly sit down or come in front of a stall before sadly putting on a kilogram. Taking into consideration my little tummy. Wait, my tummy seems to be missing. That tiny tummy I've worked so hard to get from all my meals is gone. This is a change brought about by assassin. I feel surprised once again. This gives me a lot more options besides the snacks. I can have barbecue food to celebrate. Forget it. I have to restrain myself. If an assassin is 170 centimeters tall, but ends up being 100 kilograms, wouldn't my target end breaking out into a laughing fit when they see me? I slowly exhale and decide to go to the 24-hour convenience store. To the left is a Family Mart. To the right is Lawson. It's very unfriendly for an indecisive consumer like me. I heard that Lawson has launched a few new types of ice cream recently. I recall and turn to the right. Just as I enter Lawson, my eyes light up as I see a gorgeous woman. Chapter 1410, in modern day 8. As an international metropolitan city, there are definitely countless beauties dressed fashionably out on the streets. Even if I don't pay attention to them, I would often find women that catch my attention. But even so, this person that's inside Lawson is a rare gem. I can't help but steal another look after seeing her. Her brown-dyed hair cascades down like a waterfall, and two crystal-like accessories hang from her earlobes. Her eyes sparkle, looking as clear and beautiful as the eyes of deers in forests. She has plenty of charisma. Out of courtesy and habitual shyness, I tear my eyes away from the girl and walk past her to the area where the fridge is. During this process, I can't help but turn around to take a few more looks, but I suppress my actions to avoid offending her. Which ice cream should I buy? I gaze at the transparent sliding door of the cool box and fall into deep thought. Recently, the more popular ones are fat crabs, iron cauldron stew. Taking into account my successful weight loss and my need to prevent any rebounds, as well as my tight financial situation at the end of the month, I ultimately chose fat crabs. Then, I go to the neighboring room to get a bottle of chilled CR and a packet of cucumber-flavored potato chips. All three combined form my supper for the night. If it was the beginning of the month, I definitely would have bought more. I'll keep them at home and eat them when there's a need. I don't have to go downstairs every time, but there's no need to be so carefree with my expenses now. CEO Huang had once said, "Don't let trivialities take up your most important liquidity." Without any hesitation, I take my snacks and walk to the counter to stand in line to settle the bill. At this moment, I suddenly smell a faint fragrance. In the next second, I turn my head and see the gorgeous beauty walk past 2 rows of shelves. She smiles and says with her eyes shimmering, "Can I add you on WeChat?" Me? I arch my arms a little and express my puzzlement in my speech and pose. I've never had girls ask me for my contact details all my life. That's right. The beauty nods happily and says with a smile, "Your looks and temperament matches my taste. I want to get to know you." If she were to praise me for being handsome or good-looking, I definitely wouldn't have believed her. However, it's not impossible that my looks and temperament matches her tastes. Maybe she likes my type, right? For a moment, I understand what it means to be overwhelmed and flattered. In the next second, I become more wary. Could it be some multi-level marketing scheme? Or some honey trap? As an aficionado of legal shows, a fan of the legal report of many years, I am instinctively wary of good things falling into my lap. As I hesitate, the eyes of that beautiful woman standing in front of me fogs up. It makes me feel ashamed and guilty. Perhaps it's not some multi-level marketing or honey trap. Even if it is, she's just adding me on WeChat. It won't be a problem if I pay more attention in the future. I think for a moment and hurriedly say, "All right." I turn around and place the bottle of CR on the counter before taking out my phone from my pocket. However, when I look at that girl again, she has already disappeared. It's not as if I can't see her. I can still see instances of her back appearing through the cracks of the shelves. What about appreciating my looks and temperament? How did you have a change of heart so quickly? Just as this thought flashes through my mind, I heard a chime. The door of the convenience store opens automatically, and a figure walks in. It's Officer Deng, who had checked on my residence permit in the evening, but he has already changed into casual wear. He walks to the front desk and tugs at the bottom of his black jacket's bottom. He says to the staff, "A cup of coffee." As he speaks, Officer Deng turns to look at me. "Hey, are you footing your bill?" Before he can finish, he pinches his forehead. You are Zhou Mingrui, Officer Deng. We just met this evening," I reply with a smile. At that moment, from the corner of my eye, I catch the woman leaving the convenience store. She gave up striking up a conversation with me and ran off in a hurry because she saw Officer Deng. Is she really involved in multi-level marketing or pulling a honey trap? Feeling regretful and puzzled, I hand over the items in my hand to the shop assistant and say without minding, "Give Officer Deng his coffee first." The shop assistant spends some time making the coffee before giving it to Officer Deng. He gives me a friendly smile and heads out with the cup in hand. After taking a few steps, he stops and says with a self-deprecating smile, "I forgot to remind you that the cult will use all kinds of means to approach the target. Be careful, cult." Suddenly, I am aware of a possibility. Could that beauty from before be from that cult? She hit on me because I drank the assassin beverage and became their target? This method really makes it impossible to guard against. They actually used a honey trap. I'm alarmed. With Officer Deng about to turn around and leave the convenience store, I rush forward and say to him, "Just now, a woman wanted to add me on WeChat." Officer Deng doesn't laugh at me. He asks very formally, "What does she look like?" "Very beautiful, more beautiful than many celebrities." I give a simple description and conclude, "I don't think I have the charm to make a beauty hit on me." "Not bad. Many victims only get deceived because they feel that they are very charming," says Officer Deng with a smile. "We will track and investigate this. As for you, you should just try your best. Try not to speak to strangers as depicted in television dramas. Speaking is fine, just don't establish more connections." My heart warms as I nod vigorously. All right. After seeing Officer Deng leave, I return to the counter to settle the bill. I take the snacks and walk to the entrance of my residential compound. Along the way, after passing the barbecue stall, the strong fragrance inundates my nostrils again. It tempts me to sit down and order a pile of food. I sweep a glance, and I see a group of gangsters. They're sitting on simple plastic stools at the barbecue stall, waiting for the food to be cooked. Their hair is dyed in all sorts of colors, and it's obvious that they're punks following the scene subculture. If it were in the past, I definitely would have upped my pace and widened my distance to avoid any unnecessary conflicts. But now, I'm looking forward to them making things difficult for me. I want them to have a good taste of an assassin's prowess. Just then, one of the hoodlums glances at me and stands up abruptly. Holding a stack of paper, he jogs towards me. I'm thrilled and begin to imagine what pose I should put on later. The charred, yellow-eyebrows hoodlum quickly comes in front of me and says, "Hi there, perhaps you would be interested in dream tutoring classes?" Dream tutoring classes? This development is completely different from what I expected. As he speaks, the hoodlum hands a flyer to me. Our dream tutoring classes covers many topics. Even if you're already working, you can learn things from the courses to improve yourselves and even switch careers. I blankly receive the flyer and subconsciously ask, "Are you a tutor?" "Yes, I'm a foreign language teacher." The hoodlum smiles arrogantly. "My surname is Da." Before he can finish his sentence, a few of the hoodlums shout, "Danny, the food is ready. It's time to dig in." Asterisk asterisk. The hoodlum in front of me turns around and flips his middle finger before running back. I shake my head in disappointment and wrap my snacks in the flyer before entering my compound and return to my rented apartment building. As this place is old, there are a few lamps along the stairs that are out. Some of the floors are dark. I have to take out my cell phones to turn on the flashlight function before I can see where I'm placing my feet clearly. The surroundings are very quiet. My phone suddenly flashes a few times, turning extremely dim. At the same time, I feel a cold wind blow past me. Chapter 14:11, in modern day 9. As the cold wind blows, the flashlight on my phone dims. I shiver and my hair stands on end. To be honest, after becoming an assassin, even if there isn't any light, I can still see the surroundings clearly without worrying about what's on the ground. But there's no conflict between me being able to see in the darkness and my need for a flashlight. Who isn't afraid of the dark? At that moment, my heart beats faster, pounding like a drum. Almost at the same time, I sense someone watching me. The cold wind is the breath of a monster lurking deep in the darkness. Recalling what happened on the bus previously, I pretended not to notice anything amiss and looked down at my phone. It's broken again? I had previously encountered the sudden experience of my phone's flashlight dimming, but I was using a crappy phone. At this moment, the experienced me habitually blamed it on the phone. After checking the phone and making the lights turn on again, I continue forward without anything happening. The eerie wind is still lingering in the corridor. The light flickers in brightness, digging up the fear hidden at the bottom of my heart. As I walk, I seriously consider what powers an assassin has against ghosts. The answer is nothing. Since I have nothing, I don't look forward to slaying evil or dealing with the possible existence of a ghost as if dealing with gangsters. 1 step, 2 steps, 3 steps. I calmly walk up the flight of stairs and arrive at the top floor. The lights in the building are working fine as they shine down with their yellow light. Everything returns to normal. Following that, the cold gust of wind stops. The light stops flickering. I successfully return to the 6th floor and stop at the entrance of my rented apartment. Phew, There's actually a ghost present here. I have to move out as soon as possible. This thought subconsciously flashes across my mind. I don't feel any shame. This is an instinctual response that anyone can have. However, if I quietly moved away, Taz and her boyfriend would definitely not know what's happening here. They'll continue living here. Who knows whether the devil might pester them. Also, there are 12 units in this building. It's impossible for me to inform every household, right? Also, how do I say it? Ghosts. Who would believe me? I hold my key, momentarily held in a difficult spot. Quickly hire a capable Taoist priest or monk to exorcise the ghost. But I don't know any. Before today, I didn't even know that there are supernatural powers in this world. It was all fantasy. Yes, the Tarot Club's The Star knows that the mysterious cult provides all kinds of superpowers, which means he has a certain level of understanding in such matters. Will he know a few masters who are good at busting ghosts? Phew, I'll give it a try. If there's nothing I can do, I'll make an anonymous call to inform the police. I'll post a flyer that mentions how this place is haunted at every household's door. No, not flyer, a bulletin. I quickly come up with a plan. As for the outcome, I don't have any demands. After all, I don't have any experience in this area. Besides, I should prioritize protecting myself. Opening the door, I enter the room and return to my room. I think for a while before logging on to QQ and entering a private chat with the Star. The Hanged Man and the hermit suspect that he's a member of cyber police. If I were to directly look for him, he will definitely be able to find my IP address and lock onto my identity. Just as I'm about to type the message, I remember the warning from 2 other members of the Tarot Club. After tinkering for a while, I use a proxy and use my alt, the world, to say to the Star, "Face with monocle, are you there? I have something to ask you. Don't use that emoji. It scares me." Star replies quickly. "Why?" I ask. The Star says, "Grinning face with sweat, this emoji has become popular recently. It's very strange. Furthermore, something tragic happened to a family last week. Everyone in that family wore a monocle and died in different places. The only survivor was a girl who went mad from the trauma. She repeatedly tells people not to go near her. I suspect that those who use this emoji will be targeted by an unknown existence. They will automatically put on a monocle and commit suicide or kill each other. Don't scare me, astonished-faced." I reply, unsure if I should believe him. Haha, it's just a joke. The monocle in this emoji is on a different eye from the tragedy. Furthermore, there are thousands of people using this emoji. Which unknown existence can keep an eye on everyone? The Star switches to asking, "Why are you looking for me?" I directly say, "My area is haunted. Do you know anyone who's good at ghost busting?" "I'm very good at that." The Star replies without hesitation. "Then wouldn't I be exposed?" I quickly send an emoji. Grinning face with big eyes, "I won't trouble you for the time being. You seem very busy. Do you have anyone else that you could introduce to me?" "Yes, a lady, a medium. She's skilled in techniques from overseas, but I can guarantee that it's effective. There's another foreigner, a priest. He's also good at setting up exorcism rituals." The Star replies, "They're all foreigners? You don't have Taoist priests or monks to introduce?" I'm more trusting towards local ones. The Star replies, "I only know foreign ones." "Okay, who's better?" I had wanted to ask who's cheaper, but considering how someone cheap might not do the job, I don't dare to skimp on that. The Star immediately says, "Mamda, I'll give you her QQ number. Add her directly and contact her. XXXXXXXXXXXXXX. Okay, thank you." I quickly copy the QQ number and paste it into the search box. Mamda's QQ name is Sleeping with Corpses, and adding her requires one to answer a verification question. How old are you? How old? This question is strange. Do I need to use a countersign? I'm puzzled for a moment. I take a screenshot and send it to the Star. "What's the answer?" The Star replies, "Just answer that you're an adult." What's the meaning of this? She doesn't entertain underage clients. I'm confused. No, she just wants to determine the extent she can go in the conversation. The Star answered simply, and then used an image to supplement it. "Open to suggestions, ready to be suggestive." For some reason, I'm at a loss on how to respond. I fill up the verification according to the Star's answer and fill in adult. That doesn't seem online. I didn't get added even after a few minutes. After thanking the Star, I use snacks to console myself. After eating and drinking, I head to the bathroom outside to wash up and prepare to head to bed. Mamda still hasn't added me. I switch on the bathroom light and turn on the tap. I reach for the towel. Turning around, I suddenly see a figure in the mirror. That figure is blurry. Vaguely, I see it wearing a small hat. It's a woman in a black dress. Clearly, this isn't my projection. It can't be Taz, who wears pajamas as home. Instantly, my mind explodes and I hurriedly retreat. "Don't be afraid," the woman in the mirror says in an ethereal voice. "Someone hired me to protect you." "Who?" I ask subconsciously. The figure in the mirror replies calmly. "A detective named Sherlock Moriarty." Chapter 1412, in modern day 10. Sherlock Moriarty? Sounds like a foreigner. Moriarty seems to be the professor in Holmes. Sherlock seems to be Holmes's first name. This detective is using a fake name, right? It has a style reminiscent of coming up with a name when creating a game avatar. Perhaps he isn't a foreigner. I sense something from the ghost in the mirror and ask after some thought. Who is he? Why does he want to protect me? At this moment, due to the other party's ability to communicate, my sense of fear has been greatly reduced. I've become an assassin. Isn't it normal for ghosts to exist in this world? It isn't hard to accept something that goes against common sense. Besides, it's not like I didn't sense something on the bus on the way home. The blurry woman wearing a petite bonnet in the mirror replies in a flat voice, "Someone wants to harm you." She didn't tell me who Sherlock Moriarty is. Why does he want to protect me? It looks like it's a secret. What is it that can't be said? Many thoughts flash through my mind. Suddenly, I think of a possibility and blurt out, "That cult wants to harm me? Sherlock Moriarty is their archenemy?" That makes sense. Otherwise, I wouldn't believe that someone would send a female ghost to protect me for no reason, unless it's the police who serve the people. The female ghost in the mirror falls silent for 2 seconds before nodding indiscernibly. You can put it that way. At that moment, I feel a subtle change in her eyes, but I can't decipher what emotions are contained within them. Under normal circumstances, a person without any training would more or less reveal their emotions in their eyes. This would help me understand their attitude. But the entity right in front of me is a ghost. More importantly, the things that can be discerned through the eyes most of the time are the more intense fluctuations in emotions or unconcealed emotions. Not only is the female ghost in the mirror blurry, but she also has a mosaic over her. Furthermore, her emotions are very mild, almost as though she's emotionless. After pondering for a moment, I probe, which people around me are from the evil cult? The female ghost in a black dress opens her mouth. Her voice becomes increasingly ethereal as it turns weaker and weaker. Following that, a fine layer of snow appears on the surface of the mirror, just like an old television that has its reception hampered. The female ghost vanishes amidst the static. What happened? I'm not afraid of ghosts anymore. So why did the ghost disappear instead? Did something happen again? I turn wary and look around, but everything's normal. When I look back, the mirror has returned to its original state, reflecting my fearful and blank face. Splash. The water from the tap gushes out incessantly. Unconsciously, I grab my wet towel and wash my face. Nothing has changed. At the same time, I don't sense anything unusual. Yes, no matter what, I still have to brush my teeth. I force myself to stay calm. Since things are already like this, what's there to worry about? After brushing my teeth and wiping my mouth, I return to my room. The moment I enter, I feel an indescribable feeling. My eyes are drawn to my cell phone, which I have set on the computer table. It seems to be the source of all the abnormalities. Instinctively, I charge over, wanting to hurl the phone out of the window so it's far away from me. However, it's very expensive. I changed it not too long ago. I don't know if there's something wrong with it. I'm already an assassin, and there's the female ghost protecting me. What's there to be afraid of? I console myself, walk over, pick up my phone, and plaster my fingerprint on it. After unlocking the screen, the first thing I see is a message. "Sleeping with corpses has added you." In the next second, my cell phone darkens suddenly, and the lights around me seem to be attracted by this bottomless pit. They are all thrown into the pitch-black darkness. Before I can react, the faint light on my phone ripples, revealing a translucent face that's without any eyes, nose, or mouth. There's a ghost in your room. The mouth of the face opens and closes, revealing a long and bright red tongue. There are 5 slender fingers at the tip of the tongue, and embedded on the 2 sides are rows of irregular sharp teeth. Don't tell me you're not one too. I have the urge to give such a reply, but I hold myself back. Recalling the message I just read, I ask with a slightly trembling voice, "Ma'am, duh?" Impressive. She really is psychic and can control ghosts. Yes, I've already made some initial restrictions via the messenger. That ghost won't affect you tonight, and I won't have the chance to suck you dry. The translucent wobbles shook. I'll come personally tomorrow morning to deal with it. Give me the address. Tomorrow morning? I have work to do. I am thrown into a dilemma. CEO Huang wants me to pick up the VIP at the airport. If I stand him up, I will lose my job. Work? Is your boss beautiful? Madame De asks through the translucent face. He's a guy. I point out the truth. You like men? Madame De asks without pause. How is that possible? I deny it, amused and exasperated. Since that's not the case, why are you still in the mood for work even though you're haunted by ghosts? Or perhaps, you have a female colleague that you have a crush on? You can't skip a day of seeing her. Madame De scoffs. Can it be because I'm poor? If I don't work, who will take care of me? I have a nagging feeling that I'm being led astray by Madame De. The conversation is filled with logical errors. Although I have some savings, it's not a lot, and I have to pay for the exorcism. Of course, I'm in the mood to work because the female ghost hasn't shown any malice. Madame Da's translucent face opens its mouth and says, "What about your family? They aren't well off, I answer frankly. How are your looks? Madame de asks another strange question. Average. I feel lost. Height. A little over 1.7 meters. Strong. Ordinary. How big? Huh. How big is that thing of yours? Hey, it's like this. I can introduce you to some part-time work. The other party consists of rich and idle mature ladies. They value young people very much. They're willing to provide the necessary help and become friends with mutual benefits. Do you want to consider them? The translucent face rambles on. Auntie, am I just going to give up on my hard work? I roughly understand what the other party was talking about. As long as you understand. The translucent, terrifying face lets out a suspicious laugh. I don't plan on doing so, I say without hesitation. I have my integrity. Madame doesn't bother with the topic and instead says, Then, when will you get off work tomorrow? Let's schedule an appointment. 9 in the evening. I include the possibility of working overtime. All right, give me the address. I'll contact you on QQ when the time comes. Madame Da's translucent face yawns. This lady's extraordinary performance has exceeded the limits of my knowledge, so I no longer have any doubts about her abilities. I immediately give her an address and ask, how much will it cost? The basic cost is 20,000 yuan. The price can go higher depending on the difficulty. If you can't afford it, you can consider the part-time job. Madame Da is rather direct. I recall my savings and feel a wave of pain. What's the maximum it can go? Why don't I just forget it? Besides, the female ghost doesn't seem to have any ill intentions. The highest it can go is 50,000 yuan, Madame Da calmly says. 50,000. Only 50,000. I'm surprised. The translucent face snorts. I'll give up missions that exceed 50,000. Money is nice, but I need to be alive to spend it. Okay, I see myself on the brink of bankruptcy. By the way, I'll give you a document. You can download it and read about how to get along with ghosts. The translucent face slowly slides back into the phone. Then I see Sleeping with Corpses send me a BitTorrent seed. I open it and realize that there are a few videos in it. They're quite large in size and are named 1, 2, and 3. Due to the seriousness of the matter, I don't hesitate and turn on my computer to download it. While I initiate the download, I start playing games to pass time. After a while, the download completes. I open the video file named 1. In just a few seconds, a title appears in front of me. A Chinese ghost story. On the glass window, a blurry female ghost wearing a long black dress appears. She holds her cheek with one hand and quietly stares at the computer screen. Chapter 1413, in modern day 11. Mamda really has a sense of humor. It's a good thing that my broadband company doesn't charge based on data usage. I control the twitch in the corner of my lips and turn to look out the window. She's here again. A female ghost watching a Chinese ghost story. It feels weird, since she doesn't show any malice and had pointed out the problem of the cult. While I lack the ability to fend off ghosts, assassins aren't capable of doing such things. I ask after some consideration. Do you want to continue watching? I watched this movie a long time ago. There's no need for me to rewatch it. Besides, I still have to go to the airport to pick up the VIP tomorrow. I can't stay up all night. If I'm late or something goes wrong, I'll definitely have my salary deducted or maybe even get fired. Thankfully, I haven't taken any housing loans or bought things on credit. I don't have any credit card payments and promissory notes to pay. Otherwise, I would have rejected Madame de just now and looked for someone cheaper. The female ghost on the glass window turns her head and looks at me. Will it affect your sleep? Just wear headphones. Don't worry about the light. I answer frankly. The female ghost nods and suddenly disappears from the window. Then, her figure appears on the screen, almost merging with the movie scene. At the same time, the sound of the computer speaker mutes, and the light on the screen dims. Impressive. As expected of a female ghost. I don't know why, but I feel that my fear of ghosts is decreasing. Thinking back to when I was young, I was often scared out of my wits by horror movies. Yet, I couldn't help but secretly watch them, feeling both pain and happiness. I get up, switch off the light in the room, climb into bed, pull the duvet over me, and drape it over my chest. I close my eyes as I prepare to sleep. Vaguely, I feel like I've forgotten something. A minute later, I snap awake. I open my mouth and say, good night. As a successor of socialism, I have to be polite even when facing female ghosts. A few seconds later, an ethereal voice reverberates in my ears. Good night. With this done, I begin to sleep with ease. Not long after, I fall into a deep sleep. When I wake up, I realize that the sky is already bright. Sunlight passes through the curtains, scattering across my bed. Out of habit, I laze in bed for a few minutes, and slowly I become conscious. I sit up slowly, turning my head instinctively. I see that the monitor screen has been switched off. However, the computer hasn't switched off. It's still blinking red. Did she leave after she was done watching? I gradually recover my memories from last night, like I've experienced a clear dream. Shaking my head, I pick up my cell phone to check the time. F***CK. I scramble up and dash to the bathroom. I'm almost late. If I were to mess things up, CEO Huang will skin me alive. He only treats pretty girls kindly. At that moment, there's no assassin, cult, female ghost, or medium to interfere with my thoughts. For humans, living takes the utmost priority. And the most important thing needed to live is to have money. After 5 minutes, I finish washing up and changing my clothes. I rush downstairs. Here, I have to thank my 2 roommates. They always sleep late and wake up late. They don't clash with the time when I need to use the bathroom. They don't delay my getting to work. Peng Dang had said before that the person he rented an apartment with in another city would always take hour-long baths in the morning, making him either have to wake up early or bring his toothbrush and towel to the office. I suddenly feel regret when I reach the staircase. I'm an assassin. I could have jumped from the 6th floor. This could have saved me plenty of time. However, there must be a lot of pedestrians outside at this point. If I dare go up the windowsill, they would probably call the cops. That would only waste more time. Without another thought, I jumped down the more than 10 steps at a time, allowing me to quickly reach the ground floor. During this process, I even had the time to unlock my phone and hire a car to send me to the airport. I can make a claim for transportation expenses since it's for business. My luck isn't bad. Very soon, someone takes my request. Furthermore, he's nearby. After I rush out of the compound, a white peer-to-peer ride-sharing car stops in front of me in less than a minute. Perfect. As I heave a sigh of relief, I pull the door open and climb in. Airport. Okay. The driver is wearing a mask and has no habit of striking up a conversation. This is what I like. Just like I like having a mute for my haircuts. I glance at my phone again. After confirming that I still have time even if I encounter a traffic jam, I call the chauffeur and confirm that he's on his way to the airport. This driver isn't part of our company. He's from the local office branch that the foreign VIP is part of. In other words, there's no need for me to pick up Mr. Zarathustra as his own employee will be responsible for it. However, CEO Huang still sent me to receive him to show his sincerity. After making sure that everything is fine, I start using my phone. In the process, I see a joke post. Why is the person I'm seeing suddenly ignoring me? She insisted on going to my house to watch a movie yesterday. I still had to wake up early for work, so I got her to sit by the bed and watch it alone. I mock this guy and check the replies. About an hour later, the car arrives at the airport. Thankfully, I'm still early. I breathe a sigh of relief and give the driver a 5-star rating. Then, I open the flight schedule and confirm the arrival time. NH6567 landed at the alternate airport, Ningbei Airport, due to an engine malfunction. Holy sh*t. Is this for real? I quickly call the other party's chauffeur. Hey, there's a problem with the flight. It was redirected to Ningbei. I'll immediately give Mr. Zarathustra a call and confirm if he will immediately make a domestic transfer or if he will come by high-speed rail. Or whether we should wait for tomorrow. The chauffeur says rather calmly. Okay, where are you? I'll come and meet you first. I'm having a headache just thinking that I might have to wait at the airport for a few more hours. After asking for the location of the car park, I walk all the way there and find a chauffeur. This driver is a foreigner with black hair and blue eyes. He had a mustache that isn't too thick, and he looks rather handsome. Hello? How do I address you? I ask as I approach. Previously, old AI only gave me a number and a Chinese name. Now, I would like to call him by his actual name. The driver nods and says, Mr. Zarathustra has already bought a ticket that will fly off in an hour. He will be here very soon. Please inform CEO Huang about the developments. Okay. I stifle my inner groan. This means that I might have to stay at the airport until noon. The chauffeur continues. My name is Rosigo. I'm a staff member from the Mr. Company. Your Chinese is very good. Which country are you from? I casually compliment as I comfort myself. France. Rosigo smiles and replies. Chapter 1414, in modern day 12. France is great. I had plans of politely complimenting his country, but perhaps because I'm used to lampooning, I almost blurt out. Great at surrendering. Cough. I cough dryly and say no more, lest he finds Chinese-styled sense of humor unacceptable. After chatting for a while, I point in the direction of the airport. Mr. Zarathustra will take a few more hours before he arrives. Shall we head inside and have something to drink? Wine. Rosigo looks at me. No. I mean coffee, tea, cola, and so on. Don't drink and drive. I'm surprised that his first reaction towards the suggestion is wine. You're a professional chauffeur. Aren't you a little too rash? The foreigner, Rosigo, clearly didn't understand my humor. After thinking for a few seconds, he says, Sorry, I woke up too early today and am still a little sleepy. I'll be sleeping in the car for a while. Okay. I secretly breathe a sigh of relief. Although I'm not against social interactions, and I'm even willing to be on good terms with people from a partnered company, I still feel a little uncomfortable thinking about having to spend a few hours with a stranger I'm not familiar with. Even if the other party were a beauty, this feeling wouldn't be any less. Yes, that's the case for me. Perhaps he shares the same thoughts. That's probably why he chose to sleep in the car. Returning from the parking lot to the airport, I randomly find an empty seat and sit down, not putting what I said about drinking something into practice. It all costs money. Based on my understanding of CEO Huang, he's quite generous. But at the same time, as the big boss, he wouldn't pay attention to the reimbursements of a mere employee. These sorts of trivial matters are usually handled by the finance department that follows a particular procedure. Therefore, if I waited until noon at the airport, I would definitely be able to claim the expenses for lunch, but I would have to bear the expenses for coffee, cola, tea, snacks, etc. Those are unnecessary expenses. Of course, if I could get Comrade Rosago to join me for the meal, then I would be able to claim such expenses, Klein Entertainment. For this reason, when I invited him earlier, I was actually quite sincere. At least half of it was true. After sitting for a while and using my phone, I suddenly realized a serious issue. I hadn't had breakfast yet. I had left in a hurry this morning. As I listen to the rumbling of my stomach and feel my thirst and hunger, I decide to find something to eat. Food at the airport is expensive. Shall I look for KFC or McDonald's, or get some random slice of bread? I stand up and head to the side of the lobby. When I see the first shop that looks like it sells local delights, I turn in and look for food that's cost-efficient. My phone buzzes as I approach the frozen food section. Hello, Mr. Rosago. What's the matter? I glance at the caller ID. Rosago's voice comes from the other end of the line. Ningbei is undergoing a thunderstorm. All flights are cancelled. Mr. Zarathustra will switch to using the high-speed railway. Isn't this fellow too unlucky? I'm amused yet helpless. Then shall we wait at the railway station? There's definitely more than enough time because the high-speed railway station is just below the airport. Even if Mr. Zaratul couldn't buy a ticket to stop at this station, it would take a maximum of 90 minutes from the airport to the municipal high-speed railway station. It takes less time than the time it takes from Ningbei to this city. Wait a little longer. I'll wait for confirmation, Rosago replies calmly. As we speak, I see the door to the ice cabinet push open. A small, fair, fat hand reaches in and picks up a Baxi-branded white peach oolong-flavored ice cream. I trace this hand and see a child that looks around 1 year old. I have no clue regarding its gender. Sitting in a pram, its face is chubby and it cannot stop chirping. It's really adorable. Such a young child eating ice cream. The parents are so irresponsible. I gaze up at the adult pushing the pram and find a gentle, beautiful woman. I have no intention of stopping them. It's none of my business. As long as they don't abuse the child, all I'll do is lampoon. However, is letting a 1-year-old eat ice cream a form of abuse? Anyways, the child appears quite happy. After hanging up the phone, I consider the possibility that we have to rush over to the high-speed railway station at any time. I simply make a choice, getting some packaged pastries and bottled water before paying for it at the cashier. Just as I find a place to sit down and quickly finish breakfast, Rosago calls again. The tickets for today's high-speed railway have been sold out. Mr. Zarathustra will have to stay there and come tomorrow. He sure is filled with bad luck. That's good too. I can head back directly. I don't have to wait until noon or head to the railway station. I tersely acknowledge. Then let's head back first. Yes, we'll come again tomorrow, Rosago says immediately. Come to the parking lot. I'll send you back. I'm returning to the city anyway. Sure, I reply with a smile. It's not that I'm saving money and being greedy. After all, I can also claim my travel expenses for my trip back. However, there's nothing wrong with having good relations with the employees of a partnered company at work. Even if I don't end up getting an additional order, it gives me another outlet for job hopping in the future. The only problem is how I'll get along with him later. It can be quite awkward if two unfamiliar people were to get together. Let's just talk about work. It's only about an hour anyway. I console myself. I leave the airport and find Rosago and his Mercedes. I get into the car and buckle my seatbelt. Before I can say anything, Rosago turns his head to give me a glance. Sit tight. Huh. I feel lost for a moment. The next second, the car starts and speeds off. Hey. This is still a parking lot. You're driving too fast. After a series of bends, the car slows down and exits the parking lot through the gantry. Then, the Mercedes continues to race. It swerves left and right on the road, taking up any empty spots. Not only is he on the verge of exceeding the speed limit, but he also shows no signs of stopping. On several occasions, I imagine that there would be a car accident, but with Rosago's control, the car nimbly avoids danger. Aren't you driving too fast? I ask, coming back to my senses and gulping. Don't worry. I used to be a racer, Rosago says as he looks ahead, his eyes bright. But isn't it too fast? This is a city road, not a racetrack. I lampoon nervously. I don't dare to say another word, afraid that Master Rosago would be distracted and might end up hitting a guardrail or harming the innocent. At this moment, I recall my ability as an assassin. I decide that if anything were to go wrong, I would jump out of the car to seek refuge or forcefully control Rosago to stop the vehicle. 40 minutes later, the racing car stops outside the building where my company is located. Thank you. My face is a little pale as I unbuckle the seatbelt. If it weren't for my abilities as an assassin and my outstanding balance, I definitely would have gotten carsick and puked all over the ground. You're welcome. See you tomorrow. Rosago waves with a smile. I exhale and bid the racer farewell. Entering the building, I glance subconsciously at the spot where the vending machine had appeared. It's empty. Fortunately, I head upstairs and press the up button. As I wait, I lower my head and straighten my clothes. Suddenly, a pair of long legs wearing leather boots walk over. Chapter 14:15, in modern day 13. I raise my head subconsciously and glance to the side. This instantly makes me feel a little uncomfortable. This isn't because the other party is a gorgeous beauty, but because she's CEO Huang's daughter, Miss Bernie Huang. This lady's eyebrows are straight, her nose high, and she wears a pair of blue tint-colored contacts. Together with her slightly curled hair that she dyed a chestnut color, she has a level of beauty belonging to foreigners. Seeing her look at me, I instinctively open my mouth to greet her. Miss Huang? No, that might bring about negative connotations. My lady Miss Huang? It's too exaggerated, just like a brainless idle drama. Madam Huang. This clearly doesn't suit a young girl. She'll get angry. Teacher Huang. She's still a student. As my thoughts run through my mind, the young lady, Miss Bernie Huang, nods at me. Hello. Hello. I respond reflexively, using an honorific greeting. Is my dad in the office? Miss Huang asks softly. Oh, sorry. I don't know. I just came back from some work outside. I haven't stepped into the office yet. I answer honestly. Miss Huang nods slightly and doesn't say anything else because the lift we're waiting for has already reached the first floor. As the lift moves up, I try my best to find a topic to prevent the situation from being awkward, but I don't dare to strike up a random conversation. CEO Huang treasures his daughter very much. If I were to offend her by saying something wrong, I might be fired today. Zhou. At this moment, Miss Huang turns to look at me and says hesitantly, as if she's trying to recall my name. Zhou Mingrui. I hurriedly say my name. Although Miss Huang often comes to the office to help her mother check on her father, I believe that she definitely doesn't know a mere employee like me. To be able to have a slight impression of my surname means that her memory is beyond imagination. Mr. Zhou, I have something I need your help on. Miss Huang asks politely. No problem, as long as I can do it. I reply without hesitation. As long as Miss Huang is satisfied, a promotion and a pay raise would not be too far away. As we speak, we exit the elevator and enter the company. Help me translate a batch of documents for me. Bernie Huang walks in her leather boots as she says. Translate. What language is it? I ask hurriedly. Cursive script. Miss Huang replies simply. Cursive script. I haven't learned that before. Just as I'm about to answer, Miss Huang suddenly picks up her pace. We have already arrived outside CEO Huang's office. This lady doesn't give CEO Huang any face at all. She walks past the female secretary that is stationed outside, nimbly reaching out her hand and pushing open the door gently. Let's hope that CEO Huang isn't spreading his love early in the morning. I silently pray in my heart before taking an indiscernible step to the side in case I get embroiled in CEO Huang's family matters. Of course, I'm not that nervous either. After all, CEO Huang is experienced. If he were to do any sordid deeds in the office, he would definitely lock the door from the inside. As expected, there's no one in the office. CEO Huang is at a meeting. The female secretary stands up nervously and tells Miss Huang, I'll wait for him inside. Miss Huang nods and walks into the room. One step later, she turns her head and says, Mr. Zhou, please come in. All right. I walk over and quickly say, I don't have much knowledge about cursive script. Take a look first. Miss Huang stops by the door and says. When I enter, she casually closes the door. Then, she flips her sling bag and takes out a stack of paper. Try and see if you can read it. If possible, read it to me. Okay. I take the stack of papers from her. My whole body turns stiff from that cursory look. If I'm not wrong, the cursive script on the paper is from CEO Huang. I've seen the comments he had written on documents on several occasions. This is CEO Huang's diary. Damn, don't tell me he writes down every affair. Which decent person writes a diary? I can't help but sweat. If I read it, I offend CEO Huang. If I don't read it, I offend Miss Huang. What does it mean to be in a dilemma? This is what it means to be in a dilemma. Wait, I don't know cursive script. Haha, I can't read it. Although I can barely make out what CEO Huang has written, I really don't know any cursive script. I immediately open my mouth. And Miss Huang, I can't. Before I finish, the office door is pushed open. Thud. CEO Huang rushes in and he scans the both of us with his widened eyes. He retracts his gaze from the gap between me and Miss Huang, and he smiles. BB, why didn't you give me a call? I could have gone down to bring you up. I'm already of age. Miss Huang glances at me from the corner of her eye. I'm just making a request to Mr. Zhou for his help. I immediately understand her intention. Secretly, I pull the documents behind my back. Call him Uncle Zhou. CEO Huang smiles as he emphasizes. Then, he turns his head to look at me. You may leave. I'll holler if there's anything. Okay. I use this opportunity to leave the office and return to my seat, where I hide the papers. Before I can switch on the computer, Roseanne leans in and says with a suppressed voice, "You're finished." Oh. I stare blankly. Don't you know that CEO Huang dotes on his daughter to the point of having an obsession? He hates seeing other men get close to his daughter the most. During Miss Huang's past few visits, the men who took the initiative to offer their help have either quit or transferred to a branch company at a Tier 3 city, Roseanne said with a chuckle. It can't be. I was just in proximity to her. I mainly did so because I wanted to please CEO Huang. I grit my teeth from hearing that. TSK, don't you know what kind of man CEO Huang is? In his eyes, all men are the same as him. If one has money, they'll definitely be playing around, loving everyone they see. No, making love to everyone they see. If one doesn't have money, then they'll seduce the rich and beautiful lady, take up the post of CEO, and elevate themselves to the peak point of life. Therefore, in the eyes of men like you, Miss Huang is the most tempting of prey, Roseanne said half-jokingly. It's just that Miss Huang asked me for help. I wasn't playing around at all. I feel wronged. You really weren't playing around? Roseanne casually asks. Of course. I immediately raise my fingers in an oath. Think about it. To develop and maintain a relationship, you'll need about 2 to 3 hours a day, right? If it's 2 relationships, it'll take 4 to 5 hours. There are 7 hours for sleep every night, an hour's nap in the afternoon, 9 hours of work, and 3 meals which add up to an hour. That's already 18 hours, leaving only 6 hours left in a day. If I were playing around and tried to time, I wouldn't have the time to play games, watch videos, or read novels. How tiring, how boring. Makes sense. Roseanne slowly nods before saying with a smile. Right now, you need a book on time management. Before I can answer, she continues, but how does CEO Huang manage to end time so many women? He's different. If it's just one partner, then he might take 1 hour out of his 2 to 3 day schedule to maintain the relationship, I answer thoughtfully. Roseanne tersely acknowledges. That's right. CEO Huang is different from us. He's handsome and rich, sigh. Roseanne and I sigh at the same time. Roseanne, who's quite the gossip monger, suddenly shrinks back. Old AI is here. I'll be returning to my seat first. Just as Roseanne leaves, CEO Huang's person in charge, the corporate office's director AI appears and stops in front of me. He's already old. His hair is completely white, and his face is pale. Send everything you need to claim today to finance. You don't have to receive Mr. Zarathustra anymore. Old AI says to me as I hurriedly stand up. No way. They're firing me already? I'm going to get a month's severance pay? I'm momentarily stunned. Old AI passes me a document and continues. Liaise with the members involved in this project. It's a project the company is working on with the police. Oh, the turn of events is too sudden that I don't know how to respond. Realizing that I don't have to ride with Rosago tomorrow, I have the baffling feeling that it might not be a bad idea. Chapter 1416, in modern-day 14. After finding the project team and gaining an understanding of the situation, I spend quite a bit of time organizing the information. I also leave the company at 3 in the afternoon, preparing myself to head towards the city's police station to visit the staff in charge. After leaving my company's building, I take out my phone, open my ride-sharing app, and submit my destination. Since it's not the evening rush hour, I get a driver in just a few seconds. He's in the vicinity, 1 minute. I glance at the notification and am very pleased that I don't need to wait too long. 1 minute passes quickly, but as I look left and right, I don't see the license plate that I remember. Suspecting that I've misremembered, I hurriedly unlock my phone to confirm the situation. At this moment, I heard the chiming of a bicycle bell. I subconsciously look up and see a green-orange bicycle. Sitting on the bicycle is a young man wearing a dark baseball cap and a thin black coat. Ring, ring, ring. The bicycle stops in front of me as the man extends his right foot to support the bicycle against the ground. His forehead is wide and his face is thin. His short black hair is slightly curled, and his eyes are darker than an ordinary person's, close to pure black. His biggest characteristic was that, like a cosplayer, he wore a crystal monocle on his right eye. Holding the bicycle's handle with one hand, the man adjusts his monocle with the other. He smiles at me and says, "You were the one who requested a ride." I did, but I requested a car, not a bicycle. I open my mouth, unsure if I should answer. At that moment, I even underwent existential questions. Who I am? Where am I? Where am I going? You're going to the police station, right? The young man with the monocle didn't care that I didn't respond as he asked with a smile. No way? Is there really an option for getting a bicycle? And I selected it somehow? I slowly nod. At this moment, there are only 2 clear thoughts in my mind. Should I take a photo or video to post on my moments? Should I call the customer service to complain? At that moment, the young man wearing the monocle points to the side of the building and says, "Wait another minute, my car is parked there." As he speaks, He takes out his phone and waves it. Huh, I still don't understand what's happening. The young man presses the edge of his monocle and smiles. I did something in the nearby alley just now. I couldn't drive through, and the distance to walk here was a little far, so I rented a shared bike. I'm sorry, please wait a minute or two. Since the other party has already said so, and I'm not in a rush. I politely reply, it's fine. The young man immediately puts away his phone and rode his bicycle to the side of the building. Soon, a white car drives over and stops in front of me. All right, you can board it now. The car window rolls down, revealing the face with the monocle. Just as I'm about to open the car door, I suddenly realize a problem. The car displayed on the app is black. I'm just about to walk to the back to look at the car plate when the driver waves his phone at me across the passenger seat. I have 2 cars. I'm driving this car today, but I bound my account to the other one. Look, my phone is right. With that, he calls me. Seeing that the number displayed isn't a problem, and considering how I've encountered similar situations before, I'm relieved. I open the car door and get in. It's broad daylight in a bustling city. What is there to be afraid of? However, the reviewing and verifications undertaken by the platform are really problematic. When I get into the car, the driver with a monocle looks ahead as he picks up a cigarette box and hands it back. Want a cigarette? Isn't smoking banned? I blurt. As long as I don't mind it. The thin driver smiles through the rearview mirror. I don't smoke. I instinctively shake my head. The driver holds the steering wheel. With one hand, not really paying attention to the situation on the road. It's good that you don't smoke. I don't smoke either. Smoking causes one to have a ghastly appearance. Then why do you have cigarettes? I follow up quickly. As the car drives down the road, the driver uses his empty hand to touch the monocle on his right eye. There will always be some friends you need to meet despite you being unwilling to meet. That's true. I nod. At this moment, I recall Vice President Wu from the company next door. Although he smokes, his appearance is definitely not ghastly. However, there's no need to say it out loud. I'm not someone who gets into debates with others in a professional manner. You don't look like a rideshare driver. I glance at the obviously expensive cigarettes and glance around the luxurious interior of the car. Haha. The driver replies with a smile. Is my performance that obvious? You don't look like you make a living from ride-sharing. You look like you come from a rich family. I give a random reason. Either way, I can't tell. Haha. Being born with a silver spoon doesn't bar me from making a living from ride-sharing. It allows me to experience a completely different life from my past, and being able to see all kinds of unique people is a form of entertainment. Don't you find it interesting? The driver says with a smile. How philosophical. I nod and casually say, that may be the case, but I think you occasionally only take a few ride orders and are usually busy with other things. Yes, I went to your building to investigate. The driver looks at the rearview mirror again, and his smile makes me feel a little strange. Investigate? I'm at a loss. It's about an evil cult. They like to use vending machines to harm others. The corner of the driver's lips curls up. If it wasn't for the fact that I already knew about it, I would have lost my composure. You're a private detective? Do you know a detective named Sherlock Moriarty? This might be his nickname. I suddenly have an idea. The driver raises his hand to pinch the edge of his monocle and chuckles. Of course, we're old friends. I don't know if it's my imagination, but I feel like he emphasized the words, old friend. Did you, or any of you find anything? I try my best to act like a bystander. The driver half turns his head to glance at me and says with an obvious smile, guess. That's such a punchable smile. I rein in my emotions. I guess so. Then it's as you say. The driver says with an expression of, I know a lot, but I won't tell you. As I think about what to say, he suddenly straightens his back and looks ahead. Then, he pushes the monocle on his right eye. Suddenly, countless fragments appear in my mind. Overlapping roads, tunnels, mixed colors, different signboards, pedestrians, cars that swept backwards rapidly. They simultaneously explode in my mind at the same time, making me feel like I'm suffering from motion sickness. We're here. The driver's voice enters my ears the next second. I get out of the car in a daze and squat down at the side of the road, feeling like I might vomit at any moment. I recover after a while, but the ride-sharing car has already left. Thinking back, I suddenly shudder. The driver resembled the emoji that the star had mentioned. Chapter 1417, in modern-day 15. No way. Is the driver related to the monocle incident that the star mentioned? He's been corrupted, or is he the source of corruption? Wait, why did I use the word corruption? At that moment, I feel like my heart stopped beating for 2 seconds. I forget my stupor as I quickly check my belongings. My phone is still here. My keys are still here. My travel card is still here. My 7 yuan change is still here. My shoes are still here. My pants are still here. My clothes are still here. And my body is still here. Phew, I didn't lose anything. Nothing happened. I heave a sigh of relief. I feel as though I was just overthinking things. People just love to scare themselves. Since I've already taken out my phone, I take a look at the time. 3:25 p.m. That driver drove really fast, 5 to 6 minutes earlier than the estimated time on the app. No wonder I got motion sickness. I gain a new understanding of the situation. So that's what happened. However, I keep having the feeling as though I wasn't in the car for more than 15 minutes, and that we didn't exchange many words. Maybe it was due to the motion sickness I experienced towards the end of my journey, probably. I raise my head, get my bearings, and head for the eye-catching police station. It's a compound with several buildings inside. 2 fully armed police officers stand guard at the entrance. At this moment, I suddenly think of a problem. I connect it to a question from my prior inspection of my personal belongings. I didn't bring a paper notebook or pen. Of course, this isn't a result of my negligence. It's just that I'm used to using my cell phone to record matters. If it were something grander in scale, or in a more professional setting, I would bring a notebook computer. I haven't used a paper notebook in the last 2 years. In a work environment like a police station, the leaders in charge of matters definitely can't stand the situation of someone holding a cell phone and tapping on it during business exchanges. That's not polite at all. When dealing with them, it's better to be more conservative and traditional. I'll first find a stationery shop, buy a pen, buy a notebook, and then go in. Haha. In a business environment, putting on an act is also a skill. I immediately look around to find my target. At times like this, I'll always praise my habit of leaving some buffer time. This gives me enough time to not be in a rush and allows me to be calm. The leader in charge of the project and I agreed to meet at 4 p.m., so I have 35 minutes of spare time. Normally speaking, taking a taxi from the company to this place would take about 20 minutes. With the series of actions like going downstairs, waiting for the ride, and entering the compound, the total time required is about 35 minutes. I set off at 3 p.m., giving myself plenty of buffer time to arrive at the scheduled time of 3:45 p.m., but considering the possibility of traffic jams, registrations, inspections, and unknown accidents, I ultimately scheduled the appointment to be at 4 p.m. To my surprise, the driver with the monocle drove so fast that I arrived ahead of time. I don't find any stationery stores despite looking around. I hurriedly take out my phone and use the map app to search for a nearby store. The nearest stationery store is 2 kilometers away. Get a rideshare to go over? Just as I'm hesitating, I suddenly see a small shop on the opposite side of the road. Star Dream Provision Store. Provision store, maybe there's stationery. I'll go take a look first. There's no need to get a rideshare. Star Dream. It feels like a celebrity management agency. I quickly make up my mind and quicken my pace. Taking advantage of the flashing green light, I cross the pedestrian crossing. Soon, I arrive at the Star Dream Provision Store. The restaurant is very cramped, and the lighting isn't good. It's rather dim inside, giving me the feeling of going from afternoon to evening instantly. Lining both sides of the store are shelves that are about 1.8 meters tall. The items placed on the shelves are dazzling, but they all look rather strange. The cashier is right at the back where a woman in a black dress sits at the back. She has her back against 2 wooden cabinets and is facing a tablet computer. She's playing with her phone. There's an ancient serial drama playing on the tablet computer, adding a bit of life to the dark shop. However, it's obvious that the cashier is only listening to the sounds with zero concern about the content. This store's design is illogical, and the boss isn't meticulous. If I were a thief, I could take a few items and turn around to leave. She wouldn't be able to discover it at all. I lampooned silently before walking to the cashier and rapped the wooden counter thrice. Hello, do you have a notebook and pen? I'm referring to a paper notebook. The woman in a black dress looks up and replies with a smile. Yes, we do. Over there. Her voice is very gentle, calming me down instantly. Her looks are pretty good. Even the dark environment can't mask her beauty. Without taking another look, I trace the shop owner's finger and look towards the corner of the third rack of the shelf on the right. There is something that appears to be a notebook there, but its design is very strange, as if it's made of brass pages. This is a notebook? I reach for the brass book. It feels cold to the touch, as if it's made of metal. However, there is indeed paper inside. Yes. The shop owner in a black dress says with a calm smile, my shop's theme is mystery. All the products in this area have this characteristic. Product differentiation strategy. This phrase flashes across my mind. At the same time, I survey my surroundings and see an antique quill, a silver mirror with black eyeballs on both sides, and a few dice of different shapes. Too many to count. Mirror. I subconsciously pick up the mirror with my other hand. I want to confirm my current condition. I can't look terrible just because of my motion sickness and have it affect the business exchange later. The mirror quickly reflects my face. Black hair, brown eyes, deep facial features, hard lines. Damn, when did I become so handsome? I can't believe that I'm the one in the mirror. After being stunned for 2 seconds, I quickly put down the brass notebook, take out my phone, and use the screen to examine myself. This is very normal. It's still my original appearance. I turn my head to look at the mirror again. I'm still very handsome in the mirror. What's going on with this mirror? I can't help but ask. The woman in the black dress smiles. This is a smart mirror. Ah, I understand. I suddenly understand. It's a smart mirror with its own beautifying features, filters, and Photoshop effects. To put it simply, it's actually a special tablet that's directly connected to TikTok and beauty cam apps. With this in mind, I lose interest and immediately place the mirror back in its original position. For some reason, I feel like the mirror is a little sticky. I use a lot of strength to retract my hand. How much is this notebook? And this quill? I don't waste any time. I pick up the brass notebook again and ask for the price. The boss in a black dress purses her lips and chuckles. 10 million. Uffed. I almost spit on her face. The two of these are antiques, the boss added. Is there anything that isn't an antique? Something more normal? I take a deep breath and ask directly. Yes. The woman in the black dress points behind me. I turn around and see a black, ordinary notebook. I pick it up and flip through it. I'm certain that the surface of the notebook is made of hard paper. The paper inside is an imitation of goatskin. One of the pages is painted with the fool, who's wearing gorgeous clothes and dazzling head accessories. With the fool as my online nickname, how can I not recognize the fool? How much is it? I ask casually. 30 yuan. The boss replies with a good attitude. It's a little expensive. What about this pen? I casually pick up another dark red, classic fountain pen. 25 yuan. If you buy both of them, you can have them for 50 yuan, the boss in the black dress says with a smile. I hesitate for a few seconds and feel that 50 yuan isn't an unacceptable price compared to traveling 2 kilometers by taxi. Not only is it a waste of time, but the transport cost would be around 20 yuan. Including the cost of the notebook and pen, it would be about 30 to 40 yuan. Okay. I take out my phone and complete the transaction. After leaving the Star Dream Provisions store and returning to the police station, I register at the guardhouse. During this process, a police car drives out. Is there an emergency mission? The policeman on duty asks. While waiting for the barrier to rise, the driver replies indifferently. Damn it, a car thief appeared. He stole 2 sedan cars. Chapter 14:18, in modern day 16. Stole 2 sedan cars in a row. This is probably a crime syndicate. How can one person drive 2 cars? I can't help but mutter inwardly. This is the cultivation I've gone through as a fan of courtroom dramas and detective series, as well as me being a loyal reader of crime deduction novels. Of course, I don't say it out loud. I believe that people with standard intelligence can come to a similar conclusion. When the guard on duty calls to confirm my identity, I take out my phone and check the time. There's more than enough time. I let out a sigh of relief as I unhurriedly circle around the pond in the middle of the courtyard and enter the building facing the main entrance. After I run through the possible exchange in my mind, I knock on the door of the target's office 3 minutes early. Please come in. A mellow voice sounds from inside. Oh, Officer Deng. As soon as I push open the door and enter, I realize that the officer sitting behind the desk is the one who had come to check on my residence permit. I always imagined that he's a police officer at the police station, but I never expected him to have an office at the Municipal Public Security Bureau. He even has the room to himself. You are. Officer Deng raises his hand to comb his receding hairline and asks with a puzzled look, do we know each other? Last night, you checked on my residence permit and reminded me of a mysterious cult. Later, we met again in Lawson. I even reported a woman suspected to be a member of the cult. I begin to suspect that the person in front of me is Officer Deng's biological brother, but I still give the details. Officer Deng is enlightened. Zhou Mingrui, right? I'm face-blind, and I don't have a good memory. It was night, so I couldn't see clearly. I don't need you to tell me that your memory isn't good or how you have face blindness. I can tell. I politely smile. Today, I'm representing the Intis group to take over the previous project. Yes, we agreed to meet at 4. Officer Deng points at the chair opposite his desk. I immediately approach it and plan on placing the black notebook that I just bought on the table. I will then flip it to the middle. I can't let Officer Deng notice that I just bought it and have never written on it. Officer Deng glances at the notebook and frowns slightly. Following that, he picks up the phone and dials an internal department number. Hey, the Intis group is here. Come over for a meeting. After a simple briefing, he puts down the phone and smiles at me. This is an international collaboration project. We can't decide on our own. Yes, the other party's representative will be here soon. I'm aware of that. I've read the relevant documents in the morning and know what's going on. Of course, even if I'm lazy and didn't read it, I'll still have given such an answer. I can't let the partner I'm working with find out that I'm skiving and not doing my job well. Not long after I sit down, I hear Officer Deng's office door open. I stand up politely and look back. I see an old man in a long black robe. His hair is white, and the wrinkles at the edge of his eyes and mouth are deeply recessed. His dark red eyes appear slightly turbid. A red moon pendant hangs on his chest. He looks like a priest from a cathedral. A foreign priest. I nod with a smile, fully displaying my courtesy. For some reason, I find this old man a little familiar, just like the first time I met Officer Deng. Strange. Recently, I've been feeling sad for some inexplicable reason. Is this the after effect of the assassin beverage? I silently inhale and control my emotions. At that moment, Officer Deng introduces Old Neil, an Interpol representative, a clergyman. Hello, Mr. Neil. I quickly greet him. Old Neil doesn't speak. He sizes me up and chuckles. Lad, have you been troubled by ghosts recently? You can tell? I'm shocked. I don't know if I should admit it or hide it from a stranger. Don't lie. My eyes are very sharp. Old Neil smiles and points at his eyes. A little, I mutter. Haha. Old Neil immediately laughs. You're still too young. You confessed the moment I called you out. Actually, I'm not that sure. Yes, I'm a priest. I have the ability to expel wraiths and shadows. Do you need my help? Is it okay to discuss such feudal superstitions in front of a police officer? I open my mouth, speechless. Old Neil walks to Officer Deng's table and very naturally picks up the coffee can on it. Don't worry. I don't charge much. If you're still a believer of the goddess, I can even do it for free. I wasn't a believer of the goddess in the past, but I am now. At this moment, my heart is palpitating. I hesitate for 2 seconds before sighing. But I've already found a helper. Who is it? There aren't many people with such abilities. Most of them are cheats. Old Neil skillfully brews his coffee and asks casually, Daly, do you know her? I ask hesitantly, Daly? Ah, then that's fine. Old Neil retracts his smile and asks, are you the representative of the Intis group? Let's begin. At the same time, Officer Deng shakes his head with a smile, looking helpless. You know Madame Daly? I ask. Old Neil sighs and points at Officer Deng. His fiancée. Oh, everyone knows each other. I can't help but sigh. This boosts my confidence in Madame Daly. I stop chatting and begin communicating with Officer Deng and Old Neil about the project, taking note of their requests. An hour passes. Yawn. Old Neil stretches his back. It's finally over. These old bones of mine really can't withstand the torment of such meetings. I no longer have the energy. With that said, he stands up and smiles at me and Officer Deng. It's time for me to retire. It's time for me to leave. I'll go to a faraway village. I'll grow some flowers, feed the chickens, and play the piano for my wife. I don't have to worry about things here anymore. Officer Deng stands up as well. As he sends Old Neil out, he smiles and says, let's go together. As I watch them leave, I suddenly feel speechless. Chapter 1419, in modern day 17. It's not even 5:30, and I can get off work normally again. I've already composed myself by the time when I walk out of the police station, feeling happy that I don't have to work overtime today. Before I left in the afternoon, I communicated with the administration department and was told that I didn't need to return to the company. After all, we didn't know how long the meeting would take. What if Officer Deng got me to stay for dinner, sing some karaoke, and enjoy a spa, right? Although the probability of this happening is low, even if it wouldn't happen to me, I still have to be prepared. The distance from the old estate where my rented apartment is to the police station is shorter than it is from my company, but I still chose to take public transport because the company doesn't reimburse the transportation fees for returning home. Metro line, 3,600 meters. Bus 72, 150 meters. I take out my phone and search for a route home. After careful consideration, I choose to take the bus. The weather is hot in the summer, so it's best if I can minimize the steps taken. As I wait at the bus stop for the bus, I can't help but doubt my life. I'm already a real, powerful, and extraordinary assassin. Why do I have to live like a slave of society? But I can't get any money without work. Assassins also need to save money to buy a house, food, and clothes. Sigh. At times like this, it should be like a game. Give me an assassin manager and help me gather missions. After confirming how evil my target is, I'll shave my head and flash through the crowd. No, being bald is too ugly. Forget it. What can I do? Record videos of extreme sports? I still have to practice and learn. I've never paid attention to it before. Actually, I can consider joining the police academy. As an assassin, I'm capable of capturing thieves and scammers. I won't disappoint with my abilities. The only problem is that I've heard that a policeman's income isn't too high. Perhaps it's better after the probation period? As I seriously consider the future, I board the bus. I hold the handle and notebook with one hand, and I pull out my phone with the other. I'm a refined person. I definitely won't blast out any sounds in public. I don't have wireless earphones, so I can only browse Weibo and Hupu, an online sports community website. As the bus drives, it suddenly stops. The driver's voice sounds from the speaker. Get off the bus. There's a malfunction. Wait for the next one. The passengers curse as they get out of the bus. I'm among them as I sigh at my bad luck today. There's only one stop left. There's no need to wait. I'll just walk back. I open the map app and confirm my current location. If I knew this would happen, I might as well have taken the subway. I follow the GPS, walking straight, taking a bend, crossing the street, to the old estate I live in. At this moment, I see a 5 or 6-year-old girl jump out from the roadside, and an SUV is speeding over. I'm stunned at first, but then I realize that I'm an assassin, an expert that surpasses ordinary people. Without any hesitation, I run towards the girl. Seeing that I might not make it in time, I exert strength into my legs and kick out, relying on my assassin's ability to unleash all of my strength in one strike to pounce forward. During this process, I feel like a sharp arrow that had been shot from a bow. In the blink of an eye, I lunge for the little girl and hug her. Then, I straighten my back and quickly adjust my body structure, making myself as light as a feather. The SUV finally stops. I take a few steps to the side and steady myself. To be honest, I was hit, but because I made myself seemingly weightless, I didn't suffer any damage. Are you alright? The SUV driver gets out of the car and frantically asks. His face is drenched in sweat. I'm fine. It was a close one. I put down the dazed little girl and pat her shoulder. She has long, jet black hair which makes her qualified to be a model in a shampoo commercial. That's good. That's good. The SUV driver is relieved to see that I didn't dirty or injure myself. At this moment, a middle-aged man rushes out from the side of the road. When he sees that the little girl is fine, he's obviously relieved. His skin is bronze in color, and he has soft facial features. He has a pair of eyes that are closer in color to brown. They appear to have been through a lot. Thank you, thank you. Are you okay? He asks, concerned. No, my luck isn't bad. I just happened to avoid the collision. I reply with a smile, inexplicably in a good mood. I've finally used the ability belonging to an assassin. The SUV driver points at his license plate. Contact me if you have any problems. I still have something to do, so I'll be leaving first. The middle-aged man nods before saying to me, why don't you come to my shop to have a drink to calm yourself down? For some reason, I feel a sense of closeness with him. And since it's free, I don't reject him. Okay. As I speak, I pick up the black notebook. After leaving the road and passing through the non-motorcar lane, I see this gentleman's shop. This is a themed bookstore. It's renovated to look like a coffee shop. The other door leads to a nearby park with a wooden swing hanging on it. Don't wander around in the future. It's very dangerous. Come on, thank Uncle. The bookstore owner pulls the little girl over. Call me brother. Don't make me sound so old. I joke. Thank you, brother. The little girl follows his instructions. Without waiting for my reply, she cleverly says, then my father is your elder. Damn, did I just get taken advantage of? I can only smile helplessly. The bookstore owner immediately asks, what would you like to drink? A cold beverage would do. I'm not a picky eater. Okay. The bookstore owner points at the surrounding bookshelves and says, you can also pick a book to read. Okay. As he mixes the cold beverage, I curiously walk to the bookshelf to see what's on it. Grozel's Travels Book of Secrets Roselle and his 100 Mistresses The Self-Cultivation of Evil Gods How to Make the Believers Offer Money. What kind of books are these? I'm stunned as I read them. Finally, I choose the seemingly normal Grozel's Travels. Just as I find a seat and sit down, the bookstore owner walks over with a glass. The drink is brownish red in color, and there's quite a few pieces of ice in it. After drinking it in one gulp, it's slightly sour and sweet. It's cold and very refreshing. Great for the summer. Not bad, I praise. The boss doesn't say anything else and returns to the cashier. I then leisurely lean back in my chair and flip through Grozel's Travels. From time to time, I take a mouthful of the cold beverage, feeling very pleased. After a while, the girl runs to the back door and shouts, Daddy, Daddy, I want to sit on the swing. The bookstore owner sighs and walks over with a smile. I smile and take another sip of my drink. I can't help but sigh. An afternoon like this is really nice. Chapter 1420, in modern day 18. Having had half a day to spare, I stay in the bookstore until it's almost 7. During this time, I can't refuse the owner's repeated offers. I reluctantly take a small slice of lemon cake, a set of pasta with minced meat, and 2 grilled sausages that had been battered and fried with spicy chicken powder. I don't need dinner. I rub my belly and decide to take a walk home. This helps with digestion. The only problem is that the weather is hot and stuffy. If I walk in this weather for a while, I'll definitely sweat. However, ever since I entered society, I've always had the habit of taking a shower every day. And today, I'm also preparing to wash some clothes, so I'm not too averse to sweating. To my surprise, perhaps because of the assassin beverage, I managed to passively lose weight. I don't even have a tummy. Furthermore, I'm good at using the shadows to hide myself. When I return to my rented apartment, I've only sweated a fifth of what I expected. That medium lady, Madame Daly, will be here at 9. There's still about 2 hours left. With more than enough time, I decide to use the fan after my shower and to play some games. As for using the air conditioner, the weather isn't too hot. Besides, after becoming an assassin, I feel that I have a strong tolerance for heat and stuffy conditions. To be honest, this cannot be considered unbearable. It's just that I don't really feel that hot and stuffy. When I enter the bathroom, I glance at the mirror and suddenly think of a question. That female ghost was introduced by Detective Sherlock Moriarty to protect me and investigate that mysterious cult. She hasn't shown any intention of harming me. Should I remind her that I've found a medium? so she should hide in advance. She doesn't have any ill intentions. She's very friendly. Besides, my reason for dealing with that mysterious cult is reasonably convincing. She must have sensed Madame Daly's power last night. Even if I don't tell her, she should be able to guess what will happen next. I think for a moment and make up my mind. However, a new problem rears its head. How should I warn her? I don't even know where she is or how I should contact her. Looking around, I can't find any clues. It seems like I'm the only person in the room. Yes, there's only one person, but who knows if there are any ghosts. Perhaps she's hiding somewhere, and I can just talk to the air? It's rather silly talking to myself. I recall last night, and cast my gaze back at the mirror. Looking at my reflection in the mirror, I whisper, I've hired a medium. She'll be here at 9. As soon as I finish speaking, the mirror in front of me turns dark, as if the surrounding light had been sucked in. The pale female ghost wearing a small bonnet and a retro dress appears in the mirror and nods gently. Thank you. In a second, her image disappears, and the mirror returns to normal. I heave a sigh of relief and hang up my clothes before I start to take a shower. As I shower, I suddenly freeze. Since the female ghost has already left, why am I spending so much money to hire a medium? The female ghost clearly has no ill intentions, and she's even secretly protecting me. Why would I spend so much money to hire a medium? That's 20,000 yuan, with a maximum of 50,000. Wouldn't that be a waste of money? While taking pity on my wallet, I feel the need to think of a way to cancel the contract. Anyways, it's still early. As long as Madame Daly doesn't live in the suburbs, she probably hasn't set off yet. But I can't be sure that the female ghost doesn't have any ill intentions. In my hesitation, I wipe myself dry and put on my clothes. After careful consideration, I decided to use the strategy of delaying things to hold back on the exorcism assignment. During this process, if I discover something amiss, I'll immediately get Madame Daly to come over. Sigh. It's really embarrassing to break a contract. I return to my room, pick up my phone, and send a message to Sleeping with Corpses. Madame Daly, the ghost that is haunting me, seems to have left. This is the truth, but I didn't explain why. Indeed, after more than 10 seconds, Madame Daly replies. Could it be that the restrictions I did last night scared her away? Or maybe you were too much of a pervert and scared her away. Didn't I ask you to watch a Chinese ghost story and learn how to interact with female ghosts? I feel that it's more likely that a Chinese ghost story will make the female ghost shy. I didn't dare reply as I cautiously say, I don't know. How about this? Don't come over today. I'll keep an eye out for a few more days. If the female ghost really doesn't appear again, then forget it. If there's any problem, I'll let you know again. How about that? After some hesitation, I add, I can reimburse you for your preparations. No, I mean pay a reasonable fee. Let's do this for now. I thought I could catch a female ghost and play with it. Pensive face, Madame Daly sends an emoji. Hearing this, I relax. I feel like I've earned a huge sum of money. After settling this matter, I happily play games. At 11 o'clock, I decided to go downstairs to buy some delicious food to reward myself, as I didn't spend any money for dinner and didn't have to pay for the exorcism. Eggplants. I have to have roasted eggplants, I mutter as I rush out of the estate. Before I can choose the barbecue stall, I see those punks again. Among them, the hooligan nicknamed Danny is seriously handing out flyers. His dyed, charred yellow hair, eyebrows, and his introduction of the description of tutoring class form a strong contrast. This tutoring class is interesting. I glance around and see an acquaintance sitting at the barbecue stall on the right. Miss Bernie Huang. How is a rich young lady like her eating at a roadside barbecue stall? Does CEO Huang know? I casually size up Miss Huang's companion. If it was a guy, that would be amazing gossip. A girl wearing black-framed glasses. She's not too old, about the same age as Miss Huang. I feel full of regret and was about to retract my gaze. At this moment, Miss Huang raises her head and looks over. At this moment, our eyes meet. She immediately stands up and walks towards me. This is a little awkward. However, there's nothing to feel awkward about. I live nearby, so what's wrong with coming out to eat some barbecue? I stand my ground and wait for Miss Huang and her friend to come over. Miss Huang stops in front of me and tersely acknowledges my presence. I have something I need your help with. The girl in black-framed glasses beside her asks curiously, Father, who is he? What kind of address is that? The relationship between youngsters nowadays is so complicated. I'm actually at a loss as to how to respond. I can only force the corners of my mouth to curl up as I express my doubts with a smile. We had a bet in our dorm. Whoever lost had to address the winner as father, Miss Bernie Huang explains. She points at the girl beside her. Her family runs a tutoring class. I would like you to register for the dream tutoring classes and sit in for their classes. I'll pay for it. I'll also pay you a fee for the work you do later. Register for the tutoring class. I can't help but turn my head to look at the hooligans who are seriously handing out flyers. Chapter 1421, in modern day 19. Why don't you sign up for it yourself? I don't really want to get involved in Miss Huang's matters. On the one hand, CEO Huang is both a playboy, but he also has a daughter complex. His thoughts go astray the moment he sees any man getting close to Miss Huang. Alarm bells would go off in his head, and he would overreact. Considering how it's a rather good source of income for me, I don't want to lose my job over this. Yes, although I've been working overtime for quite a while, I'm still paid enough for overtime work. CEO Huang has always been generous in terms of remuneration. On the other hand, attending a tutoring class is so troublesome. If I have the time, wouldn't it be better to spend my time on something else? Of course, if it's just to scout for information and I don't have to spend my own money, then I can do anything I like while attending the class as long as it doesn't affect the students around me. Miss Bernie Huang points at the girl in black-framed glasses and says, her family's company and this company are competitors, and they know each other. Regardless of whether it's her or her staff at the tutoring center, they definitely won't be able to sign up for it. You can? I discover a blind spot. Miss Huang shakes her head. I can't either. The boss and part-time lecturer of this tutoring center knows me. You're kidding? I subconsciously ask. Miss Huang glances at the group of hooligans who are handing out flyers and says, she's Uncle AI's granddaughter. Director AI? I laugh. This is friendly fire, conflicts arising between people on the same side. Without waiting for Miss Huang and her daughter to speak, I sincerely give a suggestion. To be honest, why do you need someone to attend their tutoring classes? You can all work together. Everyone can establish an indirect relationship. You invest in me, and I'll invest in you. Wouldn't a merger be better? Only by becoming larger and stronger will you be able to fight against other tutoring center chains. With that said, I silently apologize. Sorry, I've been reading more business reports recently. I'll consider that. However, we have to first grasp the style and quality of their tutoring classes before we can talk about anything else. Miss Huang replies in a businesslike manner. This is the result of an in-home upbringing. I sigh inwardly and casually say, then you can find a random passerby. They aren't trustworthy. I still have to do background checks. It's too expensive to find a professional company. The cost is too high. Miss Huang answers the questions that I haven't even thought of. She continues, you don't need to attend the classes often. You just need to attend 4 to 5 lessons. After that, it will be up to your own preferences. 4 to 5 lessons, which means 1 or 2 weekends. I'll treat it as overtime. I hesitate for a moment before saying, I'll ask. Miss Huang and the girl in black-framed glasses immediately replies, thank you. I then walk towards the group of hooligans and stop in front of the guy whose hair and eyebrows are dyed a charred yellow. Danny, this definitely isn't a proper nickname. It's best that I don't address him like that, lest we fight on the spot. Although I'm already an assassin and am unparalleled, there's no need for that. I cough lightly and say, what are the fees like for the tutoring classes? The hooligan with the yellowish eyebrows looks at me with a happy expression and says, it depends on the situation. For example, what kind of class you'll be taking? Is it an evening class, weekend class, or classes during the daytime? All of them have different prices. Also, what do you primarily want to learn? Foreign languages, mathematics, Chinese, history, or everything? And what level are you at? Of course, it has to be weekend classes. I usually don't have time. I'm dead tired after work every day. I just want to have some fun. Considering how I had to receive a foreign VIP previously, I reply, weekend class, foreign languages, more verbal in style, adult standards. It's best to be more business-oriented. Sure, no problem. The hooligan nicknamed Danny turns over the flyer in his hand and hands it to me. Weekend business English classes, 8,888 yuan a semester, he rambles on. I'll consider it. I take the flyer and say, when can I sign up? The registration period is currently underway. There are discounts for registering now. It only costs 666. The location is the address on the flyer. 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. in the morning. Danny introduces in detail. Is that so? I look around and casually ask. This is the first time I've seen people handing out flyers at night. Don't you guys have time to rest? We have to wait for the barbecue anyway, so we're just handing out flyers while we wait. Moreover, the foot traffic is the highest here at night. Danny explains indifferently. I see. I ask, what's your name? Do I need to mention your name when signing up? I would like to confirm if they get any commissions from successfully recruiting students when handing out flyers. No need. There's no need. Danny shakes his head in a slight daze. You don't get any commissions? All you do is hand out flyers. I press in puzzlement. Isn't this too professional? Besides, as a hooligan, what isn't better than handing out flyers? Upon hearing my words, Danny is taken aback. He smiles and says, my main job is being a tutor at the tutoring center. I teach foreign languages. At this moment, I feel that this tutoring center is a little unreliable. It was at this time that their barbecue was done. The other hooligans stop handing out flyers and walk towards the stall. Danny panics. *T. Wait for me. As he runs to the barbecue stall, he turns around and says to me, my surname is Da. Call me Teacher Da. The accent of the foreign language sounds quite authentic. I shake my head and return to another barbecue stall to find Miss Huang and her dormitory daughter. I'll go take a look this weekend, I say simply. How much is it? The girl in black-framed glasses asks. They claim that there's a discount. 6,666. I don't hide anything. Miss Huang nods. Perhaps there are other small expenses. I'll give you a total of 20,000. The rest will be considered your higher fee. No, I don't need that much. I originally wanted to modestly decline, but Miss Huang offered just too much. Okay, I exhale. Add me on WeChat. I'll transfer it to you. Miss Huang takes out her phone. Just as I'm about to scan her QR code, I suddenly think of a problem. Why don't you transfer it to her, and then she'll transfer it to me? The she refers to Miss Huang's dormitory daughter. Huh. Miss Huang is a little confused. If CEO Huang finds out that you transferred money to me privately, it would be a little troublesome, I say after some deliberation. When that happens, not only will I lose my job, I might even get run over by CEO Huang's car. All right. Miss Huang tilts her head and says to the girl in black-framed glasses, Katie, add him and transfer 20,000 to him. The girl obviously knows that Miss Bernie Huang has astonishing wealth and isn't worried that she would default on any debts. She takes out her phone and adds me on WeChat. Katie Huang. The name sounds like that of a family member. I glance at the girl's WeChat name and mutter to myself. After collecting the money, I point to the side. I'll be buying some barbecue. Shall we eat together? Miss Huang invites. No need. I'm very timid. At this moment, Katie Huang, the student in black-framed glasses, takes out 2 bags of snacks. Thank you for your help. This is a specialty of my tutoring center. What are these? I glance at the 2 bags of snacks. Dried mushrooms. It's not worth much. It's made by a biology teacher under our employ. His family farms mushrooms, Katie Huang explains. All right then, thank you. Since it isn't anything valuable, I accept it without qualms. However, the black things in the snack bag gives me the nagging feeling that they're poisonous. Chapter 1422, in modern day 20. Looks delicious, I politely say after retracting my gaze from the dried mushrooms. Then, I bid farewell to Bernie Huang and Katie Huang and go to the barbecue stall that I frequently dine at. It still isn't the time when the nightwalkers are most active. The small tables placed on the streets are a lot emptier. I easily occupy one of them and shout at the boss. I'd like to place my order. The boss focuses on grilling the skewers, completely unperturbed. The lady boss walks over with a small notebook and a ballpoint pen. Without exchanging pleasantries or any small talk, I directly say, 10 sticks of pork belly, 10 sticks of pork ribs, 5 sticks of chicken skin, 1 set of chives, and 1 eggplant. The beef kebabs and lamb skewers at this barbecue stall aren't very good, so I didn't order them. Of course, the amount of food I ordered has already exceeded my initial expectations, but it doesn't matter. Not only did I save tens of thousands of dollars from the exorcism today, but I even earned more than 10,000 yuan from Miss Huang. I have to treat myself. As a normal person, after ordering so many meat dishes, I should always have some vegetarian dishes. I need to balance my diet with some greens. As for eggplants, I don't view them as vegetables. They transcend the concept of vegetables and meat dishes and are unique existences in the barbecue world. Sigh, Miss Huang is really generous. If I wasn't worried that CEO Huang would overreact, I would really like to add her on WeChat and ask her to trouble me more often. If there are any commissions, then just hand them to me. Of course, I can't take on things that are illegal and matters that go below the neck. I watch as the lady boss returns to the grill and repeats what I had just ordered. Looking around, I notice that the other tables are occupied by groups of 2s or 3s. There are also people like me who eat barbecue alone, but they choose to have it to go, so as to eat it at home. It's good to have more people. That will allow us to eat a greater variety of food. We can even have a few drinks. I ponder for a while and feel that I should get someone to join me. Then, I suddenly think of a suitable candidate, Peng Deng, my childhood friend Peng Deng, who lives nearby. Without hesitation, I take out my phone and send him a WeChat message. Come out for barbecue. With my understanding of this fellow, he definitely won't let go of the opportunity to rip me off. However, Peng Deng doesn't reply to my message. He's in a ranked game? I randomly guess the reason for this and start thinking about who else I could invite. In this city, I don't only have Peng Deng as a friend, but the rest of them live quite far away. It doesn't seem like a good idea to get someone to take a taxi all the way here to eat barbecue at around 11 in the evening. After all, I don't have anything to discuss with them, and I didn't make an appointment beforehand. It might be better to just eat by myself. I stand up and prepare to go to the nearby Family Mart, Lawson, or a local mini-mart to buy some drinks. How can I not have cold drinks with barbecue? A few years ago, when the roadside stalls weren't under strict supervision, there was usually a mobile icebox placed beside these barbecue stalls. Then, they would lay some cables to siphon off electricity from somewhere to sell iced beer and various cold beverages. Not only was it convenient for customers, but they could also earn some extra money. Unfortunately, it's difficult for such situations to happen now, unless it's a barbecue shop with a shop front. Looking around, I decide to head to the nearest local mini-mart. Boss, help me watch my seat. I'm going to buy some drinks. I inform the lady boss, worried that there wouldn't be a place to sit when I return later. Okay. The lady boss isn't worried that I would run away. My order is still being roasted. Even if I don't want it anymore, there will still be many people who can have it. When I'm almost at the entrance of the mini-mart, my phone vibrates. Taking it out, I see that Peng Deng has finally replied. Don't you have a nightlife? Do you? I respond reflexively. Of course. My girlfriend is at my place here today. Peng Deng replies quickly. Following that, he sends another message. Eating supper isn't good for your health. Take it easy. Bring your girlfriend along. I emphasize, I'm treating. Okay, we'll be right there. Peng Deng never needs to use transitional words in his speech. Hurry up. Also, what do you want to drink? I ask. Peng Deng doesn't reply immediately. He only sends a message after I enter the mini-mart. I'm not coming. My girlfriend says she's on a diet and doesn't eat supper. She already looks so thin. Why would she need to go on a diet? I think for a while and reply. You can come alone. Peng Deng sent ellipses. She said that this is flaunting, a great insult towards her. TCH. I despise this adulterous pair for 2 seconds before deliberately saying, show me your masculinity. All right, I'll show you my masculinity. Peng Deng replies quickly. Oh, has the world turned upside down today? I'm stunned. Then, Peng Deng sends a message. As a man, since I said I'm not coming, it means I'm not coming. I'm speechless. Putting my phone away, I head to the freezer and fridge to consider what to drink. Frankly speaking, I don't like alcohol, but it's not that I can't drink it. It's just that I don't like it and feel that it tastes bad. Therefore, unless it's a request from a friend, I won't expressly buy alcohol. In all these years, there are only 2 types of alcohol that suits my taste. One is rice wine, and the other is ice wine. The thing they have in common is sweetness. As my gaze shifts, I see a strange man. He's actually wearing a shirt, vest, suit, and pants in the middle of the night, as if he had just attended a business dinner. This stands out in the stark contrast with a mini-mart or barbecue stall. Oh, his eyes are red. He's quite handsome. I tisk and retract my gaze. What does his attire have to do with me? At this moment, the young man walks over. He hesitates for a moment before asking, hello, can you give me directions to the nearest hospital? You don't know the way? I'm surprised. The man answers with hesitation, I just moved here. Oh, I point to the door. Turn right and walk straight when you're out. You'll be able to see the hospital when you turn right at the crossroads. Thank you. The man nods politely. I don't watch him leave as I continue to lower my head and choose my drink. After careful consideration, I buy a can of pineapple beer. These beverages are divided into 2 types. One is pineapple-flavored beer, while the other is pineapple-flavored carbonated drinks which don't contain any alcohol. It only contains a slight beer taste to drive away the heat. Without a doubt, I choose the latter. After exiting the mini-mart and returning to the stall, I wait for a while longer before I finally see my barbecue. Just as I'm about to enjoy it, a figure appears in front of me. The red-eyed man in the 3-piece suit walks over and politely asks, hello, can you give me directions to the nearest hospital? You just asked me. I point that out. The man seems to finally recognize me. His expression changes as he blurts out, I'm lost again. Why are you saying again? I wonder. Chapter 14:23, in modern day 21. Looking at the young man with bright red eyes, I snap to my senses. The first thought I have is, what a waste of a handsome face. After 2 seconds, I become somewhat worried. Is this guy mentally challenged, or just simply mental? Is he the type of person who easily loses his way to the point that a missing report pamphlet is handed out the very next day? No, he answered me very fluently just now. He looks fine on the surface. Perhaps he's just bad with directions? Whoa, how can someone like this be allowed outside the house on their own? I hesitate for a moment before asking, do you have your family's number? Do you need to give them a call? The man's expression instantly turns extremely ugly, giving off the feeling that he wants to bury his head in the ground. There's no need, he answers firmly. It was just a mistake. A mistake. I wasn't focused, as I was thinking about other problems. There's no need to explain, I immediately respond. Trying to explain it just shows your attempts to hide things. I add inwardly. Following that, I stand up, turn around, and point at the end of the road. Follow this path to the crossroads, then turn right, understand? Turn right. I move my right arm as I face the same direction as him. The man gloomily says, I'm not a juvenile. I'll concentrate this time. There definitely won't be a problem. I ignore his emphasis and instead remind him, if you encounter any more accidents, you can look for the police. I originally wanted to mischievously say Mr. Policeman, but since he has already said that he isn't a juvenile, I'll just forget about it. However, is this guy living in some stage play? His choice of words are quite literal. Juvenile? Using the term primary school student would be more down to earth. The man falls silent for 2 seconds before taking a deep breath. Thank you. You're welcome. I suppress my urge to make a joke. After watching this guy walk far down the road, I sit back down and enjoy the barbecue. I have to say that meat kebabs have to have fat in order to be delicious. Otherwise, they need to be marinated. Otherwise, it would definitely be dry, woody, and tasteless. In this aspect, chicken skin is definitely the type of food that can take up the challenge. In my heart, it's better than pork belly. However, the chicken skin's quality is hard to guarantee. Some barbecue stalls use the kind that were frozen for God knows how long. As for the one I chose, I can be quite certain of its standards. I bite down on a piece of condiment-infused chicken skin that's been coated with grease. Combined with a mouthful of pineapple and the chilling taste of beer, I find this summer evening simply wonderful in a way that cannot be described. This pineapple beer isn't bad. It's refreshing and quenches my thirst. I'm completely engrossed in the food to the point that I even neglect my phone. Meat, chives, eggplant, and an iced beverage. As I take in this assortment of delicacies, the food in front of me decreases. Phew, nice. I rub my belly in satisfaction. In the next second, I start to have regrets. No, I have to control myself. What if I get fat? In the near future, I can only indulge myself once a month. No, once a week. While I'm in a dilemma, I look up and see a figure. He's wearing a three-piece attire that isn't suited to proper nightlife. He has two bright red eyes. Almost at the same time, the figure seems to sense my gaze. He turns his head and casts his gaze at me. Me, him, why the F*** K are you back? Don't tell me that you got lost? The man stands by the roadside, neither advancing nor retreating. He seems to be embroiled in an intense inner struggle. I look around, but I don't see any patrolling policemen. I hesitate for a moment before standing up and walking towards the man. I've already paid for the barbecue when the kebabs were delivered, so the lady boss doesn't stop me from leaving. Why don't I take you there? Don't mention the fact that he's lost. As a person, one has to know when to joke and when not to. The man's expression changes. After a few seconds, he whispers, "All right, let's go." I turn and lead. Thank you. The wind nearly scatters his voice from behind. As I walk along the road to the crossroads, I casually chat. Which country are you from? You speak pretty good Mandarin. I'm a minority. The man hesitates for a moment before replying. Oh, no wonder. Which ethnic group are you from? How should I address you? I'm enlightened. The man walks to my side and falls silent for a moment before saying, My surname is Bai One. My name is Eileen. It's a nice name, just a little feminine, I tease. To be honest, a superficial joke like this definitely doesn't match the sarcasm in my heart. I've already given Bai Eileen a feminine nickname in my mind, Lin Lin or Lin Lin. Bai Eileen ignores my joke and walks forward before turning left. Wait, wrong. That's wrong. Over here. I quickly correct him. You really are a primary school student. Bai Eileen immediately turns around and follows me to take the right turn. I don't look at his face, and I don't say a word. I give him time to calm down, lest he gets angry. To be honest, who gave him the courage to come out in the middle of the night to look for a hospital with such a terrible sense of direction? Couldn't he just get a taxi? Or let his parents accompany him? After turning right, it's only a 50 to 60-meter walk. The hospital appears before us. This hospital isn't big. This is the inpatient building. If you go straight ahead, you'll see the emergency department and the outpatient building. Do you need me to bring you there? No need. I'm just going to the inpatient building. Bai Eileen is visibly relieved. Thank you. As he speaks, he takes out a simple brass key from his pocket. Strange. People actually use a key like that in this day and age? In actuality, it just appears like that on the surface. It's essentially a smart key. I don't probe further and wave. Goodbye. After walking for a few meters, I look back worriedly, only to find Bai Eileen gone. I can no longer see him on this road. It's as if he vanished into thin air. The hospital's side door didn't open either. Could he have fallen into the sewers? I look over and realize that the manhole cover is fine. Perhaps he used the key to open the door and enter. Haha, the old man guarding the side door must be asleep, right? I shake my head and stop thinking about this. I head all the way home. I find myself feeling a little thirsty thanks to the barbecue. So I take out a cup from my room, open the fridge, and pour the cold water that has been chilled the entire day into the cup. This is a habit of mine during the summer. Before I head out in the morning, I boil a pot of water, pour it into the large container, and place it in the fridge. I can then drink it after work. Gulp, gulp, gulp. I drink 2 glasses in a row and finally feel fine. After pouring another glass, I saunter back to my bedroom and sit at the computer table. As I sweep my gaze, I suddenly sense something amiss. The black notebook I bought this afternoon is laying open. I remember that before I went out for barbecue, it was clearly closed. Besides, I didn't open the windows for fear of mosquitoes. 1. Literally white in Chinese. Chapter 1424. In modern day 22. Without the window being opened, the notebook flipped open by itself. Did someone enter my room? Or rather, is it a paranormal incident? There's a ghost following me. It's normal to have paranormal incidents. In that second, countless thoughts flash through my mind. At the same time, I see a monster drawn on the page of the open notebook. The monster is humanoid, but it's made of tiny squirming worms. This sounds very bizarre and terrifying, but in reality, it feels nothing of the sort. This is because this drawing is very simple and crude. It resembles the random scribbling of a kindergarten child. No way. Some brat entered my room? A relative of one of my flatmates? As I think about it, I pick up my notebook and flip through it quickly, searching for other traces. After flipping through 2 pages, I see lines of text. My drawing expertise is really bad. The main problem isn't me. I was once called a master artist. War is art. War is aesthetics. It's like I've had a dream that I often had. The dream is filled with such strange languages. I'm such a decadent fellow. We really are women. These lines of text weren't that difficult to read, but the things written down look very chaotic. It gives me a headache as I instinctively stop reading and close the notebook. There's a problem with this. This is like an incantation for dark magic. I've experienced quite a few things in the past 2 days. I barely managed to calm myself down as I cast my gaze towards the window. On the glass window, the blonde female ghost that looks like she's cosplaying appears. Do you know who did it? I ask in a suppressed voice. It was done by an evil spirit. The female ghost replies with an ethereal voice. Evil spirit sounds more advanced than some spirit or poltergeist. As a modern youth who has played many foreign games and watched some foreign television series, I think the name sounds pretty cool. Is an evil spirit more powerful? I ask after some deliberation. The female ghost nods her head in agreement. Will this be more troublesome? I think of asking Madame Daly to exorcise the ghosts again, but I'm also worried that she won't be able to deal with ghosts at the level of evil spirits. I'm also an evil spirit, the female ghost says simply. Okay, I don't know how to respond. What's that evil spirit's intention behind scrawling in my notebook? It takes me a few seconds to recall the main purpose of my question. The female ghost shakes her head. I don't know. I open my mouth and change the topic. How should I address you? I can't just keep calling her female ghost, right? That's not polite. Sharon. After the female ghost says that, her figure gradually fades and disappears from the glass window. Seeing that she's very calm and composed, I'm relieved. I tease myself, it's a huge incident. There's no use panicking. Just focus on sleeping. Then I wash up and go to bed. It ends up being an uneventful night. The next morning, I wake up on time as usual. I laze in bed for 10 minutes and take my time to leave the house. On the way to the bus stop, I buy a burrito that can virtually wrap everything. With the burrito in hand, I take the bus and arrive at the company. I sit in my seat, then I get some water from the water dispenser and get down to eating breakfast. Sigh. If I hadn't treated myself last night, then I should be having a cup of sweet soy milk. Thinking of sweet soy milk, I associate it with the new product that has just been released at the store I frequently buy from. Salted soy milk. This seems to be the unique way to eat in a few places. Soy milk with soy sauce added to it. I don't know what it tastes like. I eat my breakfast seriously and start preparing for work. At this moment, Roseanne, who is almost late, rushes in with a huge bag in her hand. Here, have some beverages. My treat, she says to everyone in the office. She's a lady with good personal relations. Including me, most of the people stand up and surround her. What beverages are there? I ask casually. Roseanne puts down her bag and hands the bag to everyone. I bought a lot of bottles to get what I wanted. They all have different flavors. Sigh. If you're alive, then you should have a gambler inside you. Come, let's see what I picked. What in the world is she talking about? I'm beginning to doubt Roseanne's ability to express herself. However, I still understood the last sentence. I quickly reach into the bag and take out a beverage. I wonder what flavor it will be. Just as I have this thought, I see a familiar bottle design. It's a bottle formed by twisted snake-like patterns. This is very similar to the assassin beverage I drank before, but the color is a little different. It was black before, but now it's blue. I quickly turn the bottle around and see the name on the front. Instigator, aren't you going to drink it? You don't like this? Why don't you drink this last bottle instead? Roseanne points at the last bottle in the bag, puzzled. The beverage bottle is like a ball of extended flames. It's very cool. No, I'm just thinking. I'm thinking. I subconsciously refuse, searching for an excuse. As these thoughts flash through my mind, I blurt out. I'm wondering if I should match it with some snacks. As I speak, I take out the snack that was given to me by CEO Huang's non-blood-related granddaughter, Catty Huang. That small bag of dried mushrooms. Chapter 1425, in modern day 23. These dried mushrooms don't look very delicious. Roseanne looks at the bag of dried mushrooms in my hand seriously for a few seconds before replying hesitantly. It's obvious that she's a little embarrassed to say that the mushroom looks dry and black. It causes alarms to go off, and it can hardly whet up an appetite. After all, I'd offered it out of kind intentions. Hee hee. I take this opportunity to change the topic. What's your drink called? Roseanne immediately turns around and picks up the beverage bottle on the table. She says with a smile, "This is it. The design looks cool, right?" The beverage bottle has a streamlined design with a footprint theme. The name is Reporter. That's different from mine. I politely compliment. "Looks good." Roseanne twists the cap that has been opened a long time ago, as if she's preparing to take a sip. I instinctively want to stop her, but after opening my mouth, I realize that I don't have a reason. Furthermore, a third of the Reporter beverage is gone. This means that Roseanne has already drank it. There's no point in stopping her now. Gulp. Roseanne lowers the bottle and twists the cap back on. "It doesn't taste bad. Try it." Okay, I say perfunctorily. Roseanne doesn't urge me any further. Instead, she points at the remaining beverage bottles in the plastic bag. "You can also switch bottles." "No need. There's no need." I reply without hesitation. Either way, I don't intend to drink it. It doesn't matter if I switch it or not. After 2 seconds of deliberation, I look at Roseanne and probe. "How do you feel after drinking it? Any special sensations?" "Special sensations? Do you think this is a drug?" It's moderately sweet and refreshing. The fragrance will definitely be better after chilling it." Roseanne says, a little pissed. She doesn't look like she's lying. This means that she probably didn't obtain superpowers from the Reporter beverage. I subconsciously survey my surroundings and realize that my fellow colleagues have more or less drunk some of Roseanne's beverages, but none of them show any signs of abnormality. They don't even appear dazed or confused. Could it be that only the assassin beverage I picked last time has a special effect? I wonder if that's considered being lucky or not. I quickly control my doubts and wave the instigator beverage in my hand. "I'll need to get down to work." "Go ahead. Don't let me stop you." Roseanne waves her hand casually. Returning to my seat, I sit down. I look at the instigator beverage in front of me and fall into deep thought. After about 20 seconds, I use my large mug meant for drinking water. This is something I prepare for taking pleasant gulps of water. I open the cap of the instigator beverage and pour the liquid inside. Although I don't plan on drinking this beverage, I'm curious about what the liquid inside looks like and whether it contains some special powers. Splash. I pour all of the instigator beverage into my mug. That's too little, isn't it? That definitely isn't 500 milliliters. I can't help but look down on this beverage's manufacturer. My mug isn't small, but it usually can't hold the entirety of a 550 milliliters bottle of mineral water. In other words, while there appeared to be quite a bit of instigator in it, the manufacturer had actually cut corners. It's dark blue. It's clear, and it's quite enticing. I carefully observe the liquid in the mug and gather some preliminary information. Other than that, the drink is no different from anything else, at least not on the surface. After some thought, I decide to throw something into the mug to see if there will be any changes. What do I throw? I look around when I suddenly get a bout of inspiration. Those dried mushrooms. Anyway, this isn't something I plan on eating, so I can use it for experiments. I really am a genius. Without any hesitation, I tear open the packaging and throw the black dried mushrooms into the dark blue liquid, watching them stretch out and expand slightly. There aren't any changes. I'm starting to think that I'm overthinking matters. Suddenly, messages come from my work's chat group. I start to get busy. About 15 minutes later, I finish my work and raise my head, preparing to stretch my neck. Suddenly, I see a mushroom. A white and tender mushroom with red star dots all over it. Where did this mushroom come from? I glance over and discover that it's growing in my mug. It's about the size of a palm. Its skin, no. Its surface is so tender and supple. On the cap, there are mushrooms of the same breed, just like its hands and feet. What the hell is this? I'm confused. At that moment, the mushroom sways and the cap moves upwards as though it has lifted its head. The 2 slightly larger red stars that look like eyes meet my gaze. Just like that, I look at it, and it seems to be looking at me. A few seconds later, the mushroom reaches out its many hands, and using the edge of the mug as leverage, it jumps out. In the next second, it jumps to the floor and wildly runs towards the office door. F***CK. I'm still confused. At the same time, I discover a problem. All of the instigator beverage in the mug is gone. Almost subconsciously, I stand up and chase after the mushroom. I suspect that it's a product from the fusion of the instigator beverage and the dried mushrooms. I have to resolve this accident I caused as soon as possible. The mushroom is short and extremely fast. It passes through the office without being obstructed and wasn't even discovered. On the other hand, I'm stopped by my colleagues several times and have no choice but to slow down. So, although the mushroom's footsteps are obviously smaller than mine, it still escapes from the company. It charged into the company next door. I subconsciously follow. At this moment, the security guard next door stops me. "What are you here for?" the tall and strong security guard asks. My mind races as I come up with an excuse. "I'm here for Vice President Wu." "Vice President Wu?" The security officer doesn't believe me. "I'll ask the front desk." While he's walking to the front desk, I approach the door and gaze inside. I'm shocked by what I'm seeing. The employees of the company next door are either wearing black hooded robes or wearing strange costumes. They're dancing with something similar to an employee's dance for business. A cosplay convention? A masquerade ball? It's only 9 in the morning. I'm confused again, forgetting to sneak inside. What's your boss doing? I ask when the security guard returns. It's so strange. The security officer shakes his head. I don't know either. I'm just a worker. TSK. The moment I hear that, it's obvious that he's trying to draw a clear line between him and them. I press. Is your boss inside too? Yes. That one over there who isn't wearing anything. The security guard replies nonchalantly. I focus my gaze, and the corner of my mouth twitches involuntarily. Pervert.